Welcome back to the Maconi Setup Shop 24 Hours of Daytona for VSCA Sports Car Championship, the 2026 season underway, and right now it is haymakers are being thrown here in the GTP class. We've been watching this battle ever since it got really started, as right now Lazaire and Lippy were going at it, but now it looks like a switch for the Lippy squad. We got it looks to be a driver swap to Alan Paris for Pack Sim Sports. So those two battling out now on your screen. But today I've also wanted to intro here with Joe LaCastro, who's joining me up here today for the next 2 hours while we get down to the hour mark. Crazy to think about. You know, we started almost, 20 hours ago at this point, Joe?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you know what's funny is I jumped in at hour 3, and now I'm jumping in with 3 hours to go. So I get to see a bookmark of this event, how it started, how it ended, and it's very exciting so far.
And I'm kind of in the same boat as you, and I believe this is Kyle Mundell. Oh, in the LMP2 class gets sent around. That also ends up being a black flag for the 11 from V1M team. That's going to be a pass-through penalty for that LMP2. But to your point, Joe, I had a stint from hours 5 to 7, so I jumped in with 5 hours to go. So I'm kind of in the same boat. Just had a little tighter window there. But to clue you in some things, you can see this battle that has not really gone away at any point between these two. You got Alan Paris and Lazaire still going at it. Those two, I believe, are just oh, this is actually, sorry, apologies. This is between Lazaire and Peckley up there for second place position in the GTB squad. You can see Selena Ward has grown her lead to about 7 seconds now on these two. It was about a second if you look back about 20 minutes ago, but some lap traffic along with, not lap traffic, sorry, some class traffic along with just overall battling between those two teams has caused that to be a big difference. But now, looking at the LMP2 class, it is Oliver Pedersen and Sebastian Eisenberg battling it out for the class lead, as these two are battling out through turns 1, 2, and now 3.
Extremely close there right now between these two and the LMP2s. Coming down off the oval and getting into the road course. The LMP2 class has been sticking together very tightly over the course of these 24 hours, it looks like, and it's good to see. It looks like the only GTP that's fallen back is still that, you may want to tell me the story a little bit of the Red Lab Competizione car that's still back there in 12th overall from the top pack. Let's keep an eye on where the battles are here. And the battles are Lazaire and Peckley, which has actually spread out a little bit compared to the Lazaire and Lippy battle that we saw coming into this hour.
Yeah, they've actually gotten away from each other for once. Those two are now about a second away from each other. And, you know, you can see it right there. Some traffic has been involved to cause this whole little gap. Peckley's going to try and get that VSR Competition car back into the swing of things. But for now, looks like we're looking with the 12 machine of the 51 from World of Sim Racing team. Got into that 7th place position now in front of BMW M Team Delta. That's Daniel Campos sitting in that BMW. Those guys trying to battle it out. I mean, we still have we have 8 cars on the lead lap for the GTP class. When you look down at the LMP2s, you also you have about 7 cars on the lead lap. And then really, once you look back at the GT Pro and GTM classes, it's about, well, if you look back at the GTM, it's about 9 cars on the lead lap, and about the whole class in the GT Pro is on the lead lap. Now, obviously, with some different stints going on right now and different pit strategies, that has thrown a little bit of a wrench into things. They were fairly even when you looked at the field as a whole, that last full course yellow. But now, there's a little bit of difference for those who stayed out during that full course yellow. So, you know, Joe, there's been a couple of full course yellows here in the past couple of hours, but right now we're on a pretty long stint of green flag racing, just to clue you in there. And right now, also, the LMP2 lead, still, that class lead is still ongoing.
That battle between between Oliver Peterson and Sebastian Eisenberg is, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. It is still very heated into that, into the Le Mans there. Back out into the final turns, down to the line now. These guys have got some open air to be able to open up that throttle, and it looks like Eisenberg is just trying to stay tucked in, but I'm just trying to see if we can get Peterson and Eisenberg to meet up a little bit.
Gotcha. So while we're looking through the LMP battle here, just, you know, this 0.4 of a second gap between these two hasn't really opened up as of recently. I've been, you know, this is the new big battle that has ramping implications. You can see Eisenberg behind there from Twin Turn SRS, and right now riding on board of Fury Sim Sports LMP2 Oliver Pedersen's point of view here. You can see some traffic in the way coming through turn 6, going into turn 7 here. We've seen a couple incidents in the past couple of hours where people were trying to go, well, got a little wide going into that corner and sent themselves around, and since then a lot of people have kind of, you know, tapered off. A lot of, I don't think there's been too many incidents of many people, you know, getting off the track or getting any type of off-course incident points. So a lot of people getting in the groove here for this long green flag duration as we just get under the 3-hour mark to go here in the Daytona 24-hour race. So all that being said and done, you know, looking at all of these classes, pretty close battles throughout the field, but right now this is the biggest one between Pedersen and Eisenberg.
And that's where we're going to keep our eyes for a little bit then, because this is exciting stuff. Pedersen and Eisenberg right now are heading out, and there's a lot of open track ahead of them. There's plenty of room for them to work up some speed and really take this battle to the limit if they want to. Now, it looks like Eisenberg has had, how he's been running over the course of the 24 hours here, but it's a lot of luck and it's a lot of strategy to try to keep up at the lead of your class, and it looks like these two have done an excellent job at doing so. Just want to see how the battle shapes up here. Let's look at pit lane. The GT3s right now, it looks like that class is going through a bit of a shift change, or at least most of them are coming into pit right now and getting topped up. So we have a lot of them down here, and now we are looking at the GT Pros, or those are the GT Pros, excuse me. And it's back up to the LMP2s. Pedersen in the lead still. Eisenberg just trying to stay tucked in. And again, that gap is closing ever so slightly. Once they get back out here to the open road, they are able to find each other again. And Eisenberg is just trying to see if he can get that interval to be any tighter.
Peek to the inside there for a second. Those two trying to just figure it out. But it looks like Eisenberg is able to figure things out. They're going to get through turns 9 through 11 and able to get back onto the backstretch here, going through turns 12 and going towards the tri-oval. These two still battling it all out. They are looking to the outside. Eisenberg trying to see if he can make the outside work coming through the tri-oval here. He's got that toe coming through turns 12 and now through the tri-oval and making that momentum work. Now nose to nose with Pedersen coming through the tri-oval into turn 1. Looks like Pedersen's going to use that inside line to his advantage. And obviously, with Eisenberg being a little bit on the marbles on the outside, not able to get that great of a run. But as I say that, he's powering back through in turns 2 and 3, coming to the horseshoe. Eisenberg looking to the outside there. Pedersen's going to keep it to the inside, defend his heart out. As I thought that was going to be an off track for Eisenberg a little bit there. But nonetheless, Eisenberg is going to lose out on a couple tenths of a second there through that battle. Great battling going on between the two in the LMP2. When it comes down to crunch time, you got your final 3 hours, the final 8 of the race. But we're going to take a look here at the 75 team, looking at SRN Motorsports, and right around goes the 75. Ooh, hard into that tire barrier, lose that rear wing, and that's definitely going to have to come down pit road to at least get that wing back on to that nice pull shot.
avoid the traffic and try to stay. And they've got some flashing lights here as he tries to make it around even more traffic here. This is where it's going to get tricky now. The two of them sandwiched between, through the bus stop, heading around, looking for the line. They've got clear of the traffic finally, a little more open road, only the 94 ahead of them right now. In terms of cars, they got to get around. Nope, up to the outside. Eisenberg's looking again. This might be his chance. He's got enough road. They're going to get down to the line. At the line, he's still going to be in second, unfortunately. As we dive it down into 1 and 2, let's see. Looks like he's going to throttle off just a little bit again, bring it back. He's going to have to wait for that battle one more time.
You know, they pretty much are mirroring the battle every single lap, it seems like now. This is lap number 2 where the battle looks exactly the same. The only difference that time was they weren't side by side through the horseshoe. So nonetheless, these two can't get away from each other, but that's also invited Michael Williams into the picture here. He has not really been in the picture too much, but that track limit sim racing Thunderbolt LMP2 now joining the picture there. It's going to be a 3-horse race for seeing what order they want to come in on the podium, as they still have 3 hours left, so nothing crazy yet, not absolute crunch time, but you know, the time is ticking. You've got less than 3 hours to go. Crazy to think it's been 21 hours since, you know, your drivers started, but you really don't want to waste the last 21 hours on a very aggressive move or anything like that. But right now, I mean, Eisenberg also is probably trying to get a little more aggressive. You can see Pedersen's taking a defensive line, going through this chicane here, going through 9 through 12 or 11 here. Everyone staying at least in line, but again, Eisenberg is going to get that pull, that toe down turn 12 and into the tri-oval again, but now Michael Williams is also going to be able to get that toe and potentially be on the back bumper of both of these drivers as they come through the tri-oval. And Eisenberg doesn't really want to look to the outside. Oh, there he goes. As I say that, I think the GT Pro, something happened also in the GT Pro class for the second place position, I believe. We're trying to see exactly what happened to the 24 machine Grow Racing team. Oh, and he touched that guy. I mentioned that before. Oh, into that outside tire barrier.
Ouch.
Man, it's stuck. I hope if he can get unstuck, that would not gonna pull out of. He's actually still there, so that might call a full course yellow if he's unable to get stuck.
Yeah, if he's in a bad spot right now, we're gonna just have to wait and see right now. Hopefully he doesn't.
They're actually coming
live
up
camera right now. Yeah, he's still there. Oh, okay. Yeah, they allowed the tow there. It looks like that was an authorized. Probably after that much time passed, that was an authorized tow. I'm sure hoping. And he's back in pit lane. So we're going to go ahead and stay green here. Thank goodness. As we go around yet again, keeping an eye here on the LMP2 battle. Pedersen out in front, and you're right. He did pick up Michael Williams in this battle here. This battle has been going on and kind of repeating itself a little bit here. It's kind of like, I was trying to think of a good metaphor for it. It reminded me of going to medieval times. You ever been to medieval times where you go and it's basically the same show every time, but you enjoy that show? You know, you really have a good time watching that show, and you don't. They might change it a little bit, but I am here for this fight, and I want to see it lap after lap after lap until it finally breaks.
It also sounds like the epitome of being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, if anyone knows NFL football in the Americas, because same thing happens. They change it up every so often, but the same result pretty much occurs. And right now, for Eisenberg, you know, he's trying to change up that result, seeing what happens here as Michael Williams is now entering the battle, but also this is the battle for fourth for GTP, I believe. Looks like
right out
pretty much everyone between LMP2s, GTPs. Right now, it's just no one's been able to really get a battle going.
Yeah, okay. If we look ahead at the GTPs, you've got Alan Harris right there out in front. Harris in the middle of the track right now. He's leading Jeremy Carter in the V1M10 car. V1M10 car. Yeah, that's a good observation. They get close, But it's like, and here's another metaphor for you. It's two dogs that have just been let off the leash, been barking at each other. As soon as they get to actually move toward each other, nothing happens. And then they get back to barking. So the barking is coming up again. I have a feeling from Jeremy Carter to Alan Paris. The gap right now is a little bit wider than it was earlier, but the barking continues, and the posturing continues here on the track as we go around at Daytona. Eisenberg now posturing as well. If you look back at the LMP2s real quick, up on the outside, he's doing it again. He's saying, hey, 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 I'm here. Right behind him, Michael making a push. Michael's trying to pass Eisenberg. He's got it. That track limit sim racing car has made the pass and taken second place in the LMP2 class. Pedersen now has a new rider.
Williams has been consistently faster than these two up front these past couple of laps. I mean, obviously the tow and the draft have helped a lot, but all that being considered, now Pedersen might have a more demanding competitor right there behind him, as Eisenberg has now fallen to third. Eisenberg's still in the picture. He won't go away, but, you know, Williams nonetheless is going to be a definite aggressive... Oh, I thought he touched that grass a little bit there. Car got a little uneasy there going through turn 7, but everything ends well, and now Michael Williams on the back bumper of Oliver Patterson. That Fury Sim Sports LMP2 machine is going to have to try and hold off now a charging 420 machine from Tracks Limit Sim Racing, as he's looking to the outside going into the bus stop. Going to about 300 kilometers per hour into this hard braking zone for the bus stop. Pedersen's able to defend going through turns 9 through 11, and now going to size themselves back up for turns 12 through the tri-oval.
Wow, could not do what Eisenberg tried to do either, which was use the outside line against Oliver Pedersen. Pedersen now still holding down the inside as he gets passed up here by some traffic, by some class traffic. The GTP making a slow pass there. There is a lot of competition on the track, a lot still going on right now. Maybe not up at the front per se, although the battle between Paris and Carter is still hot. Ooh, pass has been made. Looks like a little bit of shifting going on. Michael Williams still trying to hold off Eisenberg now. He's probably upset that he lost his spot and wants to go ahead and carve that back if at all possible. You can see Eisenberg's braking is getting a little bit later and a little bit later as he tries to push a little bit further and a little bit further forward. Michael Williams with a small loss of traction there, nothing to worry about. But the two of them in the middle of all this traffic right now, just trying to make it work. Eisenberg falls back a lane. Unfortunate. He's going to end up in the middle of that battle, the GTP battle between Harris and Carter.
All that said and done, now it's a two-horse race for the LMP2 lead. As also to note that GTM class also has a battle going on for the class lead. As you know, the time ticks down, people are getting more and more pressured to try and make up those spots, obviously, at the end of the race. And right now, you can see everyone pushing the limits. I mean, Eisenberg back into it again after some of this traffic, it looks like. But this is the battle now up for the AM. Oh, lead, and oh! Closes the door. Sam Vaughn closes the door on Giannis Constantine. That Lamborghini is going to be able to keep it going. But wow, that was a hard defense on a charging Constantine. And now we're going to jump live to this battle going through the horseshoe. And everything being, at least now, settled. You know, if you're sitting in Constantine's camp, you aren't going to be too happy with what just happened there. But, you know, the Lamborghini, it's unscathed from the whole thing, so that's a plus. But, you know, if you're that Daily Kart Market Aries team, just got to try and keep pushing. You're still a half second in. You got the turns 8 and 12 to go where you can use that tow to your advantage. But right now also some multi-class racing happening here where some of these GTPs and LMP2s are trying to get through, so that's going to break up this battle a little bit now. It's hard for us to keep up with everything going on here.
It's the LMP2's fault. Yep, for sure. It's the LMP2s that are holding things up here a little bit. And that's all right. We forgive you. It's been a long race. Long race for everyone, including you. You've been out here the whole time, too. So let's keep an eye on things, though, in the LMP2 class. Michael Williams, having made that pass, now leading the LMP2 class. He's looking good. He's got a pretty good gap right now. Almost a full second gap on Oliver Peterson. Pedersen, excuse me. I gotta keep saying I gotta say it. Pedersen.
You know, Michael Williams, who had the pace to catch up to those top two, and now seems to be, this is the largest lead that group has had in at least the last 15 minutes, as we see the battle for third. Well, check up there had to be had by the Blocco Motori machine. Pascal Thies in the Matco Fisher Motorsports 44, currently trying to keep the helm of this battle. But all that being said and done, Ian Lawrence Brown just got checked up there coming through turn 6, I believe, and now everyone trying to go through turns 8 safely. And I believe also to this effect, it looks like the never mind, that is a different class. That is in, I thought there was the 9th place or the 5th place car in class, but I believe that's for the GTAM class, is also joining in a little bit here along with those others. But still, the battle for that final podium position is ongoing between Matco and Blocco Motorsports here. And that third car in line is actually a lap down, so these two are the ones battling for position, but still, nonetheless, those two behind, it looks like actually might be going down pit road now, so it's going to turn into just these two, as it looks like that Blocco Motori machine is going to look to the outside coming through the tri-oval, looking into turn 1. Everyone hasn't really had a great success. Oh! Gets a little checked up there going through turn 1, able to save it there, but still, nonetheless, Pascal Thies keeps that final podium position for the GT Pro class. Now looking to the outside, yet again, is Ian Lawrence Brown. Looking through the horseshoe, you can see some more traffic coming up behind them as well, and that's going to cause a little bit of, not actually, I thought they were going to break it up a little bit, but these two stay bumper to bumper through turn 5.
Yes, sir, bumper to bumper indeed. Very close through 5, coming around now. There's a chance here, but it's not going to work out. Blocco Motori's going to hold on to that lead. The 44 is really pushing right now, that Matco Fisher car, Pascal Thies in the field. It's really pushing to stay ahead of a lot of cars that are trying to get around it. We can see there is a GTP back there just charging through. And right behind him, he's got one of the pro cars. It's a madhouse out there. It's an absolute madhouse. And Blocco Motori is doing a really good job out there in that class to just hold on to the place that they were just in.
The one thing to note here is that now their 5th place has joined the battle in for that battle for that final podium position. So we'll see if Ian Lawrence Brown is able to keep it going. But look at this, a change potentially for the lead. Michael Williams had to defend going into the bus stop here. Now getting out of turns 11, and now Oliver Pedersen staying to the back bumper of Michael Williams. He's going to try and use that tow from that GTAM car. But that's not going to matter right now. You see GTP car driving up by, and these two still battling it out. You can see Victor now Sunnergan has been taking over that final position for the LMP2 podium. And now looking to the outside is Pedersen, but it yet again does not work going into turn 1. Michael Williams is going to be able to defend in that 420 machine from Tracks Limit Sim Racing. Thunderbolt right now putting on a good clinic right now to get past these guys up at the front of the LMP2 class and keep it, as he's just, has a mirror full of Pedersen, but Pedersen hasn't had too much, he's been alongside, but hasn't been able to get that nose out in front of Michael Williams yet.
Yeah, you're right about that. We saw some pretty solid leader driving from Pedersen, but now we've got to see him make a pass. And I haven't seen him make a pass yet. I don't know. I have a different story of people who've been watching for a while now. But Pedersen's now sitting a ways back. and just not getting the get up and go that I expect from someone who's trying to make a pass either. As he falls back there, he settled into kind of a groove. I think maybe the move might be later in the game still. We do have some time left. So if it was a matter of saving time or saving, tires and just trying to make sure that the car stays as in that groove as possible, that could be Pedersen's overall strategy here. It's kind of hard to say, but he's made his way back up now, getting closer to that 420 machine, trying to weave through some traffic. The LMP2s are able to make their way through, and Pedersen he might be back, but he's staying just competitive enough. Oh, signaling now down for the inside. Pedersen's going for a pit stop.
Huge pit stop from Oliver Pedersen here. That Fury Sim Sports LMP2 needs to come down pit road, and it's going to be a lot of pit stops, it looks like, for the LMP2 class. Everyone mostly on the same strategy. There's some diversification there on strategy, but nonetheless, a lot of the main drivers in the LMP2 class are going to have to come down pit road. I believe now we're looking at the battle in the GT Pro class, 4P5 again here, as it looks like. Sorry, I'm trying to look here. It looks like Ian Lawrence Brown is able to pull away from these two, and now sitting in that 4th place position, we have the 157 and the 44 are battling out for 5th. My apologies there. My timing table was not updating every so often, so I have to keep in check there. But looking back here at the 12 machine, gonna send it and bloop it right around in turns 1. That's unfortunate for that GTP, as he gets sent right around for Delta Racing. He's gonna have to get it back on course, and I don't think that's a black flag for him, but nonetheless, unfortunate set of events. As that battle before was between the 157 and 44. The 157 is Chad Dalton from iRacing Today Motorsports, able to get around Matco Fisher's Pascal Thies in the 44. That 44 has been falling back a little bit here as of recently, and now it looks like we're looking back towards the battle for the lead of the GTAM class yet again, Joe.
Back for that battle in the lead. DailyCart.market, Aries Racing, Yanis Constantine. And Yanis is so close right now. Let's see. Sam Vaughn is a little bit of trouble for Vaughn with the braking. Into that 1 and 2, or out of 1 and 2 there. But Vaughn has got to keep his eye on the rearview mirror here. Ooh, so close. Yanis setting up and just presenting for a pass any moment that he could get one here. He is very, very hungry to make up that place and try to take the lead in the class if possible here. He's a half second behind, but we've got some faster cars that are trying to get around right now, and LMP2, it looks like, is trying to make his pass. He's already flashed the lights. And there he goes down to the inside in the middle of this battle. Ooh, this is nasty. This could go a lot of different ways right now. Let's see if these two guys can keep the battle going as they get split up a little bit. LMP2 slides out. And the battle continues.
And while we were watching that battle, I believe this is Yanis Constantine for Aries Racing. This Aries Racing Lamborghini is the only Lamborghini in today's race. So, as being the only Lamborghini, I feel like Yanis is showing that this Lamborghini has the speed to keep up with the fastest ones in this GTM class. And everyone, behind him right now, about 2 seconds behind this battle is Tane Hodinson in the 912, I believe. That 912 machine is for Frito Sport, currently trying to lock out that last podium position. But right now, this battle between Sam Vaughn in the BMW and Yanis Constantine in the Lamborghini is still ongoing. It kind of, reminiscent of the LMP2 battle that we saw. It's now, fizzled out up there, is pretty much every other class has had at least a 3-second time difference between the leader and the competitors behind. But we've seen it really in the last hour. I feel like each of the classes have had a lead change or some sort of big battle for the podium positions. I think the GT Pro class might be the quietest of them all. If I remember correctly from the beginning of this race, like the GT Pros were putting elbows out and going and just trading positions. But now it seems like every other class is caught up and, are trying to make their way up through the field as they can and avoid the traffic as well if you're the GTPs or the LMP2s.
And plenty of traffic there is to avoid. Even though the battles are going on back there in the GT Pro and AM classes, there is a lot of activity that is causing trouble across the field for some of these drivers here. As we do have some passes being made, the LMP2 class is where the action's at right now. Fury Sim Sports, the 30 car right now. That's Don de Rieter. I'm trying to pronounce that correctly. But the Fury Sim Sport car was able to make the pass there, take the 6th place spot in the LMP2 class. Very, very close fight right now. Still only half a second gap between them and Randy Marino in the Track Limit Sim Racing Thunderbolt car. Up ahead just a little bit, Eisenberg is on the bumper of Marcus Young, looking like he can make a pass as well. We've seen Eisenberg make passes before. Marcus Young though, half spin on turn 1. Let's take a look here. Ooh, look at that. About as clean as it gets though to get back on the track. All right, back in the Wayback Machine, back in the present day. Taking a look here, the 512, Marcus Young. That half spin didn't really cost him too much.
Didn't cost him too much in that. Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say, like, he's now that opened the door for Sebastian Eisenberg, and Joe, yeah. If you're young, what are you doing with some flat spotted tires? If you were, in any car with some flat spotted tires and a pushing Eisenberg behind.
Yeah. At this point, with that big spin, and you've got those tires, the tire simulation right now is not favorable for the 512, and it's a matter of driving safe, driving clean. But you've got Eisenberg knocking on your door. All that spin did was it gave him an opportunity to get up there and to make you drive the car even harder, which is the opposite of what you want to do right now. As they make their way around some of that class traffic. Almost 300 kilometers an hour again down into turn 1. Man, these guys just rip.
And we were talking about it the past couple of hours, but Joe, I don't know how if you have too many experiences here with IMSA Racing, and this is a live battle actually between the GTM Pro or the GTM class. You can see Johannes Constantine able to make that outside work and get into the lead past Sam Vaughn. That BMW is going to have to try and figure it out now again, as he's been defending the ever-living heck out of that Lamborghini. But now, Johannes Constantine able to find his way using the outside through turn 1 to get that class lead away from Sam Vaughn. And now the roles are reversed. But what I was saying before, Joe, is just I don't know how much experience you have with IMSA Racing. I don't have much, at least behind the wheel. All that being said and done, if you were to jump into one of these vehicles, is there a particular class you would enjoy over one over the other?
I got a silly reason for it. LMP2s, because they look like rocket ships. Basically, I love the LMP2 class. I think it's fun to have a class that sits in the middle of multi-class racing. So when you've got faster cars ahead of you, slower cars behind you, I like the idea of being sandwiched between those two things, because it leads to some really exciting racing and some really it's racing within the class and racing outside of the class. And I also just love the look and feel of those cars. I've driven the LMP2s once. I did a 24 hours race about a year ago, and I raced for a few hours of that, and it was an experience. It was a lot of fun. Driving the LMP2 was just a matter of focus, but so fun. It's such a fun car to drive.
Yeah, I've driven that before. Whenever I did my only endurance race, it was a 24-hour race when I was part of my college team, and it was. I only prefer the GT class because I would need to get my, you can see the GT3 class right there, and the differences between them. That GT3 class, obviously a little less power output than the other two classes, but I feel like I need to build that rapport and understand what it's like to be the one being fast along with staying fast at the same time before I can get into a GTP or LMP2. But if I'm on my own, if I'm just test driving, yeah, those GTPs and LMP2s are amazing and fun to drive. But, you know, looking at this as well, the weight of the GT3 comparative to those GTPs and LMP2s are a main variable to show, you know, how light those two prototypes are comparative to the GT3, along with the engine. I mean, the turbocharger and the V8 comparative to just, you know, the differences in the GT3s will cause that power output and that overall just speed we see on the straights and out of the corners from those prototypes. Anything else you want to add, Joe?
Oh, I think you covered it, man. That graphic was really helpful for anybody like me who's coming off the NASCAR circuit and is more more familiar with the world of Gen 6 and ARCA and that kind of thing. This is it can be a bit of a new field, but I'm sure anybody watching right now who's been involved in this IMSA racing has an idea of how these cars are racing, and if not, you're coming into it like me. You're here for the love of the sport, and you just want to see some cars go around. You want to learn a little bit in the process. So learning about the differences between the three has been pretty great here. We got some pit stops though up at the lead. It looks like Selena Ward's going to be in, and Wastegate Racing is going to be trading out drivers potentially here.
And Selena has been at the helm ever since that last full course yellow. She was able to jump in and take the reins of that GTP class for Wastegate, but now looks like potentially a driver swap we will see here in a moment, who will come out of the pits. It is actually, I think Selena might be staying in the car for Wastegate. So nonetheless, for the 32, we're going to have the same driver for this next stint, and that gives Sergey Lazaire the lead back, and we did talk about him and Peckley a little bit, battling it out about an hour ago at this point, but now that's a 7.5 second difference, or lead for that Porsche. And everything in between, you know, you got a 23 second lead back to the 51 of the World of Sim Racing team. Oh, big hit for the 757. Oh my.
Wow, the front of that car is missing. He got, let's see, bus stopped. Wow. Just barely just touches the inside curb, loses that grip on the track, goes flying, but is able to keep driving. And I think he's going to bring that down pit road and avoid a full course yellow.
And it's astonishing how many people have lost a front end, even under caution, at that bus stop here today during this race. Give it and it take it. You know, you can gain a lot of time through that bus stop if you know how to hit it just right. As it looks like now the GTP class, the top two have came in along with some other LMP2s.
Here we go. LMP2 pit stops rolling through, just a few. Whereas up at the front, we're still looking at some fighting going on here. Alvaro Martinez stuck in traffic as he tries to make his way through right now, trying to pass that Porsche ahead of him. There we go, and that's Yanis, isn't it? I think so. Or no, that's Lamborghini. Yeah, that's Yanis.
Seeing multiple class leaders here in this frame. For the 51 squad, I mean, they got to start thinking of coming in soon, as even though, you know, you're leading right now, there's only 3 of those GTPs who have not come down pit road yet to get yourself a fresh set of tires, maybe a driver swap. But Alvaro Martinez in that number 51 Ford World of Sim Racing team, he's got to start thinking soon, along with the Albrecht Motorsports and the 12 BMW M Team Delta Racing team. They also got to start thinking, you know, what's the strategy? If, you know, maybe they're staying out to try and make it to the end, maybe try to if no more full course yellows come out, might be trying to play some sort of game here. You could start realistically thinking, how many more stops do we need? As you see, the 51 is trying to battle through some traffic as we have a battle. Looks like force. I believe this is 5th place in the LMP2 division.
Yeah, and the battle just kind of dissipates a little bit once the cameras are on it. A little bit gun shy. That's all right. Back here in the battle for 5th, though. Who are the players involved? Or P3. Who are the players involved? Randy Marino out in front with Johannes Witt right behind in the rescue skill car. Rescue skill by WMS. .420 in the 512. Sticking it out. Looks like we're going to take a quick look at the number 2 in the GT Pros here. The GTPs, excuse me. Yeah, quick spin for the number 2. That was No Limit Sim Racing Academy, Joao Diaz. And apologies for any missed calls I might have here. I need a cup of coffee. It's early here for me in the Midwest.
And yeah, we were noting that in a couple hours ago where, we had multiple different drivers, and, some teams could take the advantage of having somebody in Europe, in Asia, and Africa, pretty much anywhere that's not in North and South America, and, have a driver that's having, their normal bodily schedule where they're up at 8 a.m., maybe even like, 5 a.m., from like midnight to 5 a.m. might be your trouble spots if you're an all-American team. You got to have someone who can be a night rider, somebody who can take that graveyard shift and, stay concentrated. Along with that, having a human spotter to talk to you, or just in general, just to be there to give you those live updates around the track and anything going on in front, is very helpful in the fact that you could just stay awake. Just the simple fact of staying awake and keeping yourself coherent and hitting your braking points and keeping yourself, taking advantage of when people are at maybe their least concentrated. I know the VSCA makes it a big point that the driver, you might not have the fastest drivers win the race. It'll be those who are, taking advantage of those who get competent and those who, aren't really, focused up at those nights or at even during the day when you're not really worrying about it. So the 912 Porsche real quick. We're going to look at the 912 team here. Just a little spin coming through the horseshoe turn here. Just nothing crazy, but in the middle of the track. Able to get out of the way, though, for everyone coming through. Excuse me there. That is the Team Frida Sport team, who took a little bit of a spin there, but able to get it collected. Maybe just some flat spots at the worst. But, yeah, so if you have a multinational team, that could be a very big advantage when it comes to today's race. I know there's some other races that are like 6 hours. It might not be important, but a 24-hour race is just such a marathon that little help can be the biggest margin when it comes to a lot of these drivers. But we still have 53 cars on track, which is impressive too.
Yeah, 53 cars on track after 24 hours is a very good number still, as now coming down pit road, P2s. That's Philip Blouth and 96 in the 12 out in the GTPs. Now both down pit road, leaving Selena Ward out turning laps.
That Ferrari sorry, ironically, I interviewed Selena. Well, I was there. I shouldn't say I interviewed. Alex interviewed Selena while I was in the booth for Wastegate Racing. And, it was very interesting to listen to Selena's point of view for a lot of these. And she was, very optimistic on the team, pulling out a win here today. The 51 team looked very fast. The World of Sim Racing team was that, leading at that point. So Selena was worried about them and the rest of the, competition against the Wastegate Racing machine. But right now, Selena done a great job on just breaking open the gap in the GTP class since that last full course yellow. And I'll let you get back to it, Joe. I just wanted to add that little tidbit in there while we were highlighting her.
Oh, absolutely, my friend. Thank you. Anything you can throw in, please. By the way, I need all the help I can get right now for sure. Look at the 32. just absolutely tearing through here right now. And the battle for 5th in the LMP2 class is heating up still. Eisenberg is in the middle of it. We've got a few other names involved. Whoa, no.
That I don't know if, you didn't get the call. That was the 14 of Thiago Diaz. He's currently just sitting for Grow Racing Team Blue, and he just looked like he got a little unsettled there. Didn't think he had somebody to his outside, but that GTP just roared to the outside, got him a little shocked, maybe woke him up. I don't know if it's, well, probably not. I don't think he is driving in the morning right now, as you see that little bit of hesitation from the 14 as Thiago Maduro Diaz was able to avoid any type of catastrophe there. As you see everyone just battling through traffic, doing what they can. But this is the battle for, there's a pass for third, I believe, in GTP here for JD Daniel. He is currently battling it out with Gabriel Peckley, who Peckley we saw a lot in the podium positions, and now getting held up, massively, as Peckley is going to use the outside, and that class car of the GT able to use them as a pick and roll move for that third place position and round out the podium position for now. But Peckley, he already knows that the 55 is coming. He has been able to pass him easily. So now we're going to see when coming through turn 7 and the bus stop, if Peckley is going to be under fire yet again from JD Daniel. And Daniel will have to keep his nerves under, or keep his cool, to say the least, as a lot of the time when you get held up like that, you start getting angry. And we've seen it where people get way more aggressive, miss their braking points, dive it into the corner just because they get held up in traffic. And I think also, if you have a spotter or a crew chief that keeps reminding you to keep a level head, you still got 2 hours and 19 minutes to go. Like, you need to keep this car on the track. It doesn't matter how angry you are or how impatient you are because of something that happened. You gotta keep a cool head. That is something I personally had to learn as I started racing in iRacing and pretty much any other game where I was taking it seriously, not like an arcade game.
Yep. Let's take a look at the 183 here down in the International Horseshoe. A little bit of a replay here. Ooh. The Bloccomatore. That's Ian Brown behind the wheel. The Bloccomatore car. Giving it just a little spin cycle, and that's going to break up things at the top of the GT Pros. Oh no, another bus stopping here. The 90. Here he comes. Oh wow, flying around. He hits the moguls basically on the inside of that turn. He hits the bumps and goes for a ride. Loses the front of the car. Happens every time.
I believe that
right along
90 machine has been in some trouble as of recently here. So the 90 now multiple laps down in the double digits to its class. So just trying to finish off this race in a positive way. Obviously going to have to get into the pits, but it looks like a battle for third is underway here. Randy Marine. Oh, that's actually not. Apologies there. I thought it was. I believe right ahead is the bad.
Oh, black flagged. JD Daniel in the Pack SimSport car just got black flagged after doing that pass. He was able to make the pass, but that black flag is going to set them back tremendously. Oh, man, all that hard work. He's serving it immediately here. All that hard work just evaporates for the Pack SimSport team as they fall back. They're in 5th now overall. And that's not where it's going to end, unfortunately, as they are now falling back to 6th. We'll see what happens when they get back out on the road. But the GTPs have just gotten a bit of a shakeup there. JD Daniel falls out of the running, which means back up at the front now. It's Sergey Lazer. Or, excuse me, Selena Ward, Sergey Lazer, Gabriel Peckley. And Peckley now is being challenged by Jeremy Carter. Oh, spin on the inside. We got a spin in an off track there in the, I think it was GT Pros, the GT Am class. I'm not sure exactly who it was. Missed the car number. Oh, the 57 here.
That's Sam Spinell, looks like, who takes a spin.
Yeah, right to the inside. Able to get back on the track, though, when there's a room. And we're back up here. 2 wide. Ooh, 3 wide. P3 for the LMP2s right now. Randy Marino, the man, going 3 wide here. The 420 car with Johannes Witt right behind. And right behind him, it's Eisenberg. It's a 3-way battle for the 3rd place here.
Man, oh man. I mean, it seems like we haven't had more than like 2 minutes to just not worry about a position on or a battle on track, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I just was expecting a little more distance between these drivers after about an hour and a half of green flag. But, you know, with this pit cycle, it seems like everyone's been able, at least there's some battles going on for position, including this P3 battle. It looks like a lot of, obviously, traffic getting in the way. Oh, big shunt!
Oh, whoa!
The Ferrari. I don't know who that is. Is that Josh Go? Oh! Josh Gowen's back on. He's back on track. That's Josh Gowen for Gowen Racing. He got absolutely decimated and got thrown across the track. I mean, the grass acts as like an ice rink once you end up there, but he's trying to figure out how not to get a black flag here because I guess technically he cut the track by sliding across it, but there's nothing he could have done about it.
Yeah.
And we saw that live, so we'll take a replay here. And we saw, I mean, oh, it looks like the LMP2 just got up on the dirt there and, you know, just ended up sliding into the Lamborghini, or the Ferrari, sorry, not the Lamborghini.
Good save. Get off the track. Assess, get off the track as fast as possible. Get back on, and it looks like he has avoided. Oh, the black flag is there. Josh Gowen and Gowen Racing have got the black flag for cutting the track. They're going to go out and serve that.
And that's just racing, you know? Stuff like that happens no matter where you look. Any type of racing, dirt. If you go dirt, oval, dirt, road, endurance, road, oval racing, everyone, you know, sometimes there's just some things that are out of your control. And I forget who was mentioning it earlier, but sometimes you need that element of luck. So we're going to take a slow-mo look at that replay.
Yeah. The element of luck comes into play, or else you're going to get, you know, Brian Boitano, Christy Yamaguchi. You're going to end up in the grass and just go ice skating across with no way to stop. And we saw how far he went flying. 4 cars battling for 3rd in the LMP2 class now. Witt, Eisenberg, Diaz, and Randy Marino out in front.
You could, we did talk about how some people end up under a blanket after some time, and endurance racing does have its little pods, and here we are. Joe, I'll let you look at how this is going to unfold.
Yeah, we want to see here. Right now, the Track Limit Sim Racing Thunderbolt car is leading this group of 4. The LMP2s are dealing with some lap traffic, though, some class traffic, as we all try to get around them. A few Porsches in the way here, but they are making their way around in a GTP up high on the outside. So it's busy for this battle of 4 here right now, as the battle is sort of taking a back seat to them just trying to stay alive as everybody makes their way through now through the bus stop. Pretty good. Ooh, the 420 high up the track after a fierce bus stop turn. Manages to keep it out of the wall. Stay straight. Look at this here, though. That's the 512 driven by Johannes Witt. Witt to the outside. Can he make this pass? Looking for it into 1 as we cross the line. He pushes it. Braking zone a little late. Ooh, contact potentially there between the 420 and the 512. But they're going to both stay on the road. That was close. Witt now is just a hair's breadth ahead of Thiago Diaz.
You can see the 4 stacked up on each other. I mean, one incident could mean, you know, somebody comes out unscathed and the other 3, somebody gains 3 positions and the other 3 become unscathed. They're catching up to some traffic here. Going through turn oh, a little reverse action. You can see some tire smoke there. Somebody have to take some aggressive maneuvers there to try and not run into each other, as these GTs are getting in the battle here for with the LMP2s, and that is going to heavily benefit Marino, who's going to be able to pull out to about over a second now. Distance to those two behind him now. That Grow Racing 14 driven by Thiago Diaz still holding off Johannes Witt. Now looking into the bus stop, jumping to the inside is the 512. He's going to take a look, but 14 is going to close the door.
And one thing I've noticed about Witt is that his braking zones compared to these other guys, his braking zone is always just a little bit earlier than the other LMP2s that he's been driving around. And I noticed that when they're throwing it into these turns after these long straights, Witt is usually one of the first ones on the brake, just making sure that his entrance is exactly the right angle that he wants to hit, which is respectable because he stayed competitive through all that. But watching him here now, I'm wondering if he's going to maybe try to push things a little bit.
I think all of these guys are other than Marino, sorry. He might be the only one that's not getting a little upset with the traffic going on around him. But now, he's out to a second and a half ahead of this now battle for fourth between the three that we saw before. Kind of spaced out now, but nonetheless, an ongoing battle for position between these three. And, no matter what, if you have to battle through one car, throughout the infield, if you're a GTP, it's a little hard. But when you have a gaggle all battling for a position, they're going to be aggressive to try and, optimize their times to not get held up too much because of your problems or your speed.
That's very true. That's very true. And Marino, making his way through the lap traffic, is setting the course right now for the LMP2s. He's trying his best to get up. He's only got he does have a 14-second gap, unfortunately, between himself and Reuter. But Marino is really driving well right now as he flies over the bumps in the bus stop, leads his little pack here, and the gap has increased now to over 2.5 seconds between Diaz and Marino. So it's now a pack of 3. The battle is now the battle for 3 cars for fourth, as Marino goes ahead and steps out of that fight. Let's see if these 3 can sort things out. Eisenberg seems like an angry little bee right now. He seems hungry for position, and he's moving for it. He's jiving a little bit, just moving around. And I'm looking, puts it too wide right now. I'm just trying to wait and see if he can get it put together. Can he find the way to arrange the chessboard to make that move?
I like that analogy because it's one thing to pressure a driver in front, but it's another thing to pass. And we've seen Eisenberg do a great job of being in all of the rear view of Johannes Witt. But if you're sitting in that twin turn SRS by DeBoca Bornheim machine, if you're Eisenberg, you got to just try and do what you can to try and get by this guy, because really this is the only battle on track. Everyone else is pretty much on an island of their own, no matter what class you're looking at. And right now, you got to take advantage of what you can. I believe did the second place LMP2 just get? He just got a drive-through penalty here for that Fury SimSport LMP2 of Donde Reuter. And I believe it's through the bus stop, so it shouldn't be too far of a travel if they want to come this time by. But nonetheless, that is a killer for that Fury SimSport LMP2.
Let's see if he cuts it here. Yep, just a little too far off the apex there. Wow. And definitely on the exit, it was the same. Yeah, you can't slice it too thin, boys. Can't slice it too thin, or else it all falls apart. And so it did. And now we were just talking about how Marino would have to make up a good chunk of time to make it up to that second place slot. Well, he's got it. He's got that chunk of time now that he was looking for, and then all he's got to do is try to make his way up further. Ooh!
Whoa!
That's Eisenberg.
Eisenberg around in turns 3, has to keep it on that outside wall for now. He's in a tough spot. Very blind quarter for him. You can see that's the GTM leader right there, Giannis Constantine, coming on by. But doesn't look like a crazy incident. We'll have to take a look and see what happened. Yeah, coming through turn 1 and just sends it right around. The back end gets out from under him and headlong into that outside wall. Good awareness to keep it into that outside wall until he gets the all clear to back it out and get going again.
Yeah, really good awareness. Not something I would have been able to do, probably, to be honest. I wonder if he was in VR to have that much awareness of the situation around the car. That was quite the move. Yeah, quite the save. It wasn't a save, obviously, but it was quite the move to get back out on the track, keep things going. And that is going to set things back pretty severely for Sebastian Eisenberg here. So right now, it's now the only battle I can see on the track right now, then, is that between Diaz and Witt. And it looks like that's going to be where the fight's at. Keep up real quick here. Here we are, Diaz out in front. Witt just a little ways back. Battle for third, also including, it looks like Reuter back out on the track here. Was able to make his way back up to fifth. Was able to hold on to fifth at least. And now is working his best into this battle for third. Oh, Eisenberg is serving a black flag?
He must be for that spin he got. Interesting.
Okay.
The spin caused him to go down pit road. I mean, I don't think there's too much damage there, but I mean, regardless. All the while,
oh, it was
this
an
battle.
Incident point black flag. Okay.
Gotcha. All the while, this battle for the final podium position still ongoing. Obviously, with the black flag for that V1 or for the Fury Sim Sport machine, that has opened the door for that final podium position to now be taken by Grow Racing Team Blue for the moment. Right now, at 14, leading this little pack. These guys are still within a second of each other, about a second of each other, but right now, that rescue skill by WMS machine is just right on the back bump, or trying to, I should say, hold off the Fury Sim Sport of Don de Routier.
These three cars in a line, three ducks in a fountain. Oh, the Ford GT3. Big hit here. Let's take a look here. Whoa. Ooh. Yeah, flat out couldn't stop the car. That's ugly. Ugh. Here comes the 30. That's the 30 of Reuter. He's looking, trying to find posture to see if he can make his way around Witt, but oh, look at that camera angle, though. What a slam. Ugh. Yeah, that was some carnage. Ugh. Through the bus stop. Can he do it? Ooh, cuts the corner a little bit thin there, just a little bit. We've seen that bite already, as that's what caused the Fury SimSport car to go ahead and get their black flag. Was cutting the corner too many times, so we don't want to see that happen again in this LMP2 class, because that's just gonna, if that's the thing that's causing these guys to lose places, that's just embarrassing. Oh, but we got a pit stop. 2 pit stops here.
Seems like the 420 and 30.
Yes, sir. Heading down pit lane.
Got Fury Sim Sport, Track Limits Sim Racing, both deciding they need to come down pit road here. Potential driver change, we'll see. We're going near the final 2-hour mark of the race here today. So, you know what? In the night, it's wild to think we're getting almost down to the final hour here. You know, you gotta wait another one, but nonetheless, just overall, after 24 hours, still seeing these battles go on, and right now, with this pretty long green flag run, it's opened the door for a lot of drivers to use their pure pace and their consistency to open some gaps. We haven't talked about the GTP class really at all, because those drivers are all just on their own islands trying to battle through the traffic and also at the same time keep themselves consistent. But Selena Ward handing out that first place position right now for Wastegate Racing in that 32 machine. The Ferrari roaring on by. You could see battling through the traffic, doing a great job at it for Selena as the 2-hour mark hits. And then you got a little bit. Oh, somebody had to. So somebody decided to go through the advertising, and I don't know what GTM part that was. That was the 88, I believe, of RTR Rick Team Racing. That was Rodrigo Marios. And oh, big spin and a hop. And oh, hard into the outside wall. That is detrimental to the 88. Man, oh man, that was a wild adventure for the 88. Trying to get back on track too, right when we saw that. I think just, not obviously they decided to keep it off the track and keep that safe rejoin. But looking back down here now to the LMP2s, right now, it is your Twin Turns RV by Debrecka Bornheim 23 machine of Victor Sonnergren, who has 21 seconds up on the second place. And now we're going to look back here at the battle for 6th, in the LMP2 class between Fury Sim Sports and 30 and the 420 of Track Limit Sim Racing. Those two are Don DeRuiter and Randy Marino again. Yeah, we're seeing them yet again as they are just trading the position right now. Thought maybe the 30 was coming down pit road, but I then remembered that they are just coming out of pit road. So they don't have to worry about that.
Ooh, 420 tries to make the move there down into 1 and 2. Very cool. Yeah, cold tire situation though. Going to be a little tough now. And now the gap has increased. We're going to go back and look at the leaders here. Looking at the Sim Racing 71, Peter Spickman, right now behind the wheel, leading things for the GT Pros. And Spickman is about 5 seconds ahead of the Telemetry Racing of Nicholas Soul. That 5 seconds, though, is doing a lot of work here. Just like we're seeing up in the GTPs, these gaps are there are men alone, men on an island, basically here. We've got gaps of about 5 seconds, 6 seconds, 6 seconds, almost all the way back. A few smaller ones here and there, but nothing short of 3 seconds, 2.5 seconds. Looks like the closest gap we have right now in the GT Pros. So the battles are all happening elsewhere here. We're looking at the 55. Ooh. Yeah, another cold tire spin there for JD Daniel. He's down to the inside. He's going to keep that. He's going to get that back on the road, though. And looking good.
Now
we're here.
Back to Giannis Constantine real quick. He's in the Lambo. Out 7 seconds ahead of everyone else in front of the BMW. That Lambo is fast.
I was going to say, my man, you always know which one is Giannis Constantine. You always know that DailyCart.market car, DailyCart.market Aries racing car, because it's the only Lamborghini on the track. As soon as we see it, that Huracan, we know that it's that team. And they are, doing pretty good right now, finding themselves without a rival. They're only the closest one is Marcelino in the BMW M Team TSR GTAM car, which is about 8 seconds back. So nothing really going on there as Giannis Constantine continues to lead things in the GTAM class.
That's a run through your leaders here. No crazy no one's really close to each other when it comes to the lead of the classes right now, or at least when it comes to inner podium battles. Everyone's pretty much sitting on their own little island here as some pit stops are happening and repairs for some of these drivers right now, but all things considered, a lot of these drivers just keeping it consistent. We haven't seen too crazy of wrecks outside of what's happened in the bus stop here. Just maybe a couple people having to get used to cold tires and a couple people trying to just push it to their limit. I mean, minus 2 hours here, Joe. I mean, and if you were out here on the track as a driver, what's your like first thought when it comes to, you're through 22 hours and your team has gotten you, say, a podium position right now. What are your thoughts, going into these final 2 hours?
Oh man, if you've got me a podium position and I'm sitting about third or second, and I've got a comfortable, I'm ticking off a list of like requirements in my head for how I behave. First question: how close am I to the car ahead of me and behind me? Am I being pushed for position, or am I within reaching distance of getting something? I wouldn't push for position even at this hour. I would just, if I was in podium place, I wouldn't push for position. I would be maintaining position as much as possible. I would fight tooth and nail to avoid losing a place, but I would not be fighting to gain one. And I think that's probably just me. That might not be top tier big brain thinking, but I would say with this much time left, just under 2 hours left, podium position after 24 hours, I'm not going to sacrifice the car or my team's dream for a win right now, for a second place right now. Now, talk to me later. Talk to me in about an hour and a half and ask me if it's time to push the car a little bit. Like if I'm within shooting distance of first place, yeah, then you're going to start pushing the car. But at this time, I would just fight to maintain. I would really fight to hold on to what I've got, really fight to just keep things alive and make sure that no matter what, we got to the end of this race in one piece.
That's the smart approach that I think especially for these leaders. I mean, obviously they can't go up, but you're trying to keep yourself entertained here and also make yourself fast. As we're looking real quick, the battle for 8th in GT Pro between RTR, Rick Team Racing, and then also right behind that is your 84 of Unitronic Fisher Motorsport. That's Rodrigo Moreos and J. Van Meplin, who are just riding it out right now, trying to battle it out for that 8th place position. A close battle on track, but real quick while this battle goes on, we wanted to mention the Maconi Setup Shop. It is the Maconi Setup Shop 24 hours of Daytona. So when you want to be the best, you can't settle for the rest. For anything on iRacing, there's just one name you need: Maconi. With Maconi Setup Shop, they now provide the best of the best in setups, paint schemes, coaching, and event organization. With cars across all 4 licensed classes, they have what you need to hit the track with confidence. Grab a subscription starting only at $8 a month and save money while going fast at MaconiSetupShop.com/subscriptions. Again, that is Maconi Setup Shop, like it's written there, .com/subscriptions. And remember, at Maconi Setup Shop, they're their setups, but your victories. And, everyone today, I think, has, had the pleasure of working with this setup prior to the race. And while all these drivers are going on with these setups, you can see some of them might be having trouble with them as we're looking back here at the GT Pro class. That is, a hard hit for the Ferrari into that outside tire barrier. The whole back end ripped off. I believe that's the 12?
The 18 of Going Racing there. Josh Goen, previously behind the wheel. Let's see. Still behind the wheel right now as he takes that car into the barriers, unfortunately. That's his second, during our stint of calling this, that's the second time that we've had to call Josh Goen's name out. Unfortunately, sounds like he's having maybe just a little bit of trouble there with the car or with the track or with both. And now, there's the battle for 8th here in GT Pro. Unitronic and RTR back at it again. This time Unitronic is in the lead. And we want to see how things pan out here. Unitronic, can they make the passes? or excuse me, can they hold off the pass from RTR? RTR just about a half second behind. Van Meppelen just cruising at a steady speed. Is not, I want to say he's not pushing right now. They're very close. They're within a half second of each other. But Van Meppelen is just driving, here we go. We're starting to push a little bit now, but he was driving very, very casually for a guy who was that close to the guy ahead of him. But I'm wondering if he's not pushing for a pass at this point. Maybe the battle is not there, but the proximity is hard for me to read these tea leaves. I'm kind of swirling them around the bottom of the cup. We'll battle for third up here in GTM, though.
As we see this Wastegate Racing, they were leading the GTP division, but now have opted to go into the pits. So that is a big change at the helm for the GTP class, and I believe they made a driver change, and now it is Nicholas Pedersen back at the helm here for Wastegate Racing, who are still in the pits doing that service, but at the same time they have their GTM class car battling it out for another podium position right now. That is the 33, currently driven by Will Robertson, and Paulo Amato right behind him, battling out through the bus stop. You can see Paulo trying to do what he can, still there within arm's reach, getting that pole, getting that drag from the car, or from the wastegate machine. See a little bit of the flicking of the lights. I mean, these two cars right here, you can see he's getting a little bit of a pull from the car in front. That's a GT Pro machine. And oh, another 3 wide real quick there as a GTP came on through.
Yeah, he's trying to make the passes that he needs to, but he's also, holding up traffic a little bit. So he's got the pressure there from other cars. Ooh, a little bit of a snap for Will Robertson for a second. Just a snap out of the back tires. Yeah, he's in the middle of it right now. He is, it's an unenviable position. Now, Robertson in the 33, looking to hold off the 515 of Paulo Amato. Amato in that beautiful gold and white paint scheme. Trying to push the Mercedes a little bit faster to see if he can catch up. He's got caught up to Robertson. The two Mercedes now nearly side by side. They are neck and neck for sure, but all the traffic around them, I think, is keeping their battle from being an effective one. There was a pass for second just recently, though, in the GT Pros. Let's take a look at that. That pass for second was the move from Epic Vans on telemetry. As we cut back to the Mercedes fight, they're side by side. And the pass is made. Epic pass right now. Really well done there. Wolf Motorsports makes the move, takes the spot, and Wastegate slides back into 19th.
Within class fourth, but yeah.
Oh, fourth in class. I'm sorry. My 19th. My timing screen doesn't have the AM and the Pro split up, so I'm trying to watch both screens at the same time. Let's go back to let's watch the one screen though. Fourth in class.
I'm doing the same thing. Don't worry. I have to double check these GTs because with luckily for this series they break it out, and from there I think it was a discussion point yesterday that the cars are not any different. Those GT3s are all the same. It's just pretty much the type of if you are platinum or a pro license, I believe, or gold maybe too.
It was silver, gold, and platinum, I think, can race in the pros, and then
Gotcha.
Bronze and silver race in the AMs. I talked about this yesterday a little bit, and forgive me if I'm getting it wrong, but it was something along those lines.
So nonetheless, I mean, these drivers, you could see like the GT Pro, GTM, they're all within each other, and like right now, it looks like the I believe this is not the Wastegate machine. This is the Wolf Motorsports Sim Racing 515. He is doing a great job of just racing with some of these other pro drivers right now, and as time goes on, I mean, even if it's a damaged pro vehicle and you have the GTAM car right now, this is some of your potential future competitors, maybe, even teammates in the future potentially. So, any experience you get on the track with these drivers, oh, that's a bad check up there. That's going to, the number 3 car of GTAM of Thomas Marcelino got, I think that's Marcelino, got a black flag there in the BMW. Unfortunately, you can see the unhappiness from the wastegate machine there right now too. Also not happy, trying to battle for position, but that's a big black flag for that for Thomas Marcello and that BMW M team TSR GT. Yeah.
I think there's also a meatball on the field right now for the Going Racing 18. They are, from a little earlier, they are out. They're going to have to bring that car back down. Watching here, though, battle for 10th in GT Pro. Rusty Spatulas Racing, VSCA, fantastic team name. Rusty Spatulas currently Hein Maitinen is trying to hold off Sean Hatfield. Hatfield right behind there. These two cars very close to each other right now, and creating yet another battle here in the GTs. Lots of battles heating up here in the GTs, actually, in the GT Pros.
Right now, you got a battle in the LMP2s while all those battling in the GT Pros happening. You got a battle for second. Tiago Maduro Diaz, Don De Roter, currently battling it out for Grow Racing Team and Fury.
Ooh!
Sim Sports. Oh, that's going to send him around. Oh, another car also out in the turn 1. Oh my gosh,
what's going on?
What's the parking lot out here?
Yeah.
The 22
that
is
was
currently sitting. That might be
it is
a full course yellow for the 22.
Oh, Tiago came out angry, and he came out fast and nearly rammed somebody on the road. That was rough. Yeah, he got doored. He got doored pretty good, and that spun him. And let's take a look at the replay here. There's a 22 off on his own. Wow, car just came apart.
Car looked like Lego blocks.
It did.
And that is not a designated towing area, so hence why we have to go to a full course yellow. And it's going to be a long one.
Yes, it is. Give us a chance to breathe a little bit. We've had a solid amount of green flag racing here, but this is going to be our first break here. Look at that. Tiago's out and around. Puts it into, gets out as fast as possible. Ooh. And just about slams. Yeah, just about slammed into 2 other cars, which would have been just icing on the cake. But instead, we get the full course yellow. Well, not instead. He still does almost slam into 2 other cars. But we still get the full course yellow. And now we've got everybody, getting ready. Let's take a look at the view from the 420 here.
That was the car. Ooh, had to check up real hard there to not get into Tiago there, but oh wow, it's not too safe of a rejoin there. Obviously, like he said, he was angry, and I mean, from the replay, I don't know if he might have dove it in too deep, got a little hard on the brakes, and just locked it up a tiny bit enough to where he got a little too far out, got a little tight, and got sent out into got sent out there. But nonetheless, all that being said and done, big ramifications for LMP2 class. And more than that, you got a lot of drivers now stacked back up in the field that, for, say, like Nicholas Pedersen in that wastegate racing machine, once those pit cycles ran through, they were going to be out to a huge lead still in the GTPs. But now, Danny Fonte and Douglas Souza, those two have to, I believe, still come in for their, they are about 25 laps into their stint. So whenever pit road opens, those two are going to be coming in, and that will give Nicholas Pedersen the class and overall lead. But you also got to think, like, now they have to defend, and when everyone was together in a GTP class, they were very barely even the last time we had one. Oh, we were seeing if we could try out that graphic to show. I believe that is this. Oh, stints. Yeah. So you can see we're on lap 658, which I believe. Joe, am I wrong? Did you have a guess yesterday that like the typical 24-hour race goes like 800 laps?
I did. Did that make its way through?
I don't even know. We might make it. We might make it to 800. I don't think so with this full course yellow, though. I really don't, because at this point we're at 658, and we might get to I don't know. Estimated is jumping around now because of the caution, but I mean,
I estimate if we can stay green for the next hour and 40 minutes. I estimate that we'll be just about at 750.
Gotcha. Okay. So about another 100 laps. Okay.
That's my guess. With an hour and 40 to go, if we stay green, 100 laps sounds about right. Maybe a little less. Maybe like 735. That's my number.
That's a good guess. Because, I mean, we got to go. This is going to this safety car and overall full course yellow is going to take a moment to dissipate. And, yeah, I think while we have this time and nobody's on track, I think we're going to cut to a short ad break until we get to the pit stops. So, again, this is the Maconi Setup Shop 24 Hours of Daytona for the VSCA Sports Car Championship, round 1 here in Daytona. This is coming down to the wire, folks. You will not want to turn away here. We will be right back.
The world of motorsports into your home with over 100 live race series such as MotoGP, IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, Extreme E, World Superbike, and the newly launched all-electric E1 series. From 2 wheels to 4, from land to sea, your destination is Rev TV.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Racing. Welcome back, everyone, to Daytona International Speedway. Here we are at the 1 hour 34 minute mark here in the Maconi Shut Up Shop 24 Hours of Daytona. Getting towards the end here, the nitty gritty. Nonetheless, we have a full course yellow that's shaking some things up. You can see right on your screens here the different classes as everyone's able to catch up to each other. So all of these podium positions are going to be up for grabs once we get wave arounds done and potential pit stops here as they come down towards pit road entry. But as everything stands, still got 53 cars in the running. Right now, at least, the Vulture Motorsports 64 machine is still in the pits. We won't know if that Vulture Motorsports sports car will come back out. But nonetheless, we'll see if any driver changes occur during this safety car or anything like that. Doesn't look like too many takers, if any. It might not even be open yet. We'll see. Yeah, if we want to, Joe, if you want to take a look at the schedule here for the VSCA Sports Car Championship.
Sure, let's go ahead and do a breakdown of the 2026 season that we got coming up. The Daytona road course already happened with the 24 hours. It's happening right now. The Maconi Setup Shop 24 Hours of Daytona. On the 7th of February, coming up, it's Sports Car Grand Prix of Long Beach over at Long Beach Circuit. The 28th, it'll be Monster Energy 12 Hours of Sebring. On the 21st of March, it's going to be the JRT Course de Monterey at WeatherTech Raceway at Laguna Seca. That's going to be a lot of fun. 4/18, it's Virginia Sports Car Grand Prix 5/9. Around May 9th, Miami Sports Car Grand Prix at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. That's a new track, from what I understand. So it'll be kind of fun to see how that works out in the service here. Then on May 30th, it's the Never Lift Crispy 160 at Homestead Miami Speedway Road Course. Good to be at Homestead every time. I love that track. 6/20. To the Abruzzi 6 Hours of the Glen at Watkins Glen International, and capping things off for the 2026 season, the Advanced Sim Racing Endurance Grand Prix at Road America on August 15th, end of the summer. So we got a lot of excellent racing. And with the Petit Le Mans also in there. I don't know when that is. But that's going to be on the schedule as well. September 19th for the Petit Le Mans. It's a 10-hour race. Oh boy, that's going to be fun.
If you want to think about it, for the 24 hours these drivers are doing right now, the next 5 races add up to these 24 hours. So, right now, the drivers are doing, you want to say, probably a third of the schedule worth of driving hours for these teams. So it's definitely, this is the marathon of the season. This is the big boy that all these drivers, and I think, a lot of the drivers on the iRacing the program, love to see the 24 hours at Daytona and take part in it. Probably one of the biggest, probably one of the biggest, not the biggest event on the iRacing program, but nonetheless, we have that happening right now with a lot of great battling happening pretty much throughout the 24 hours. I've been here for only 5.5 hours of them, and I think I've had about only these full course yellows and about 5 minutes of actual race time where something wasn't happening. So with these full course yellows, cautions breed cautions, and it looks like maybe some fresh tires might also help in a lot of these drivers getting maybe some scary little twitches here and there. So we'll see as everyone comes down pit road. About 2/3 of the field, you can see a couple drivers still staying out.
Yeah, a couple are still out there, but a lot of the field now is down pit road. It's very true. 32 cars came back down here. Or the 32, sorry. I was trying to count the cars.
And you got to start thinking,
is the time on pit lane? Yeah.
Yeah, you got to start thinking maybe this is the last stop. This is, if you top off, with this full course yellow. I mean, strategies definitely are getting written up right now during the past 5 minutes. Everyone trying to figure out to come down for fuel only, for tires, exactly what the plan is for each team is different. But, you got to start thinking. You have an hour and a half left to kind of strategize backwards and see when you want to do these stops, if you need another stop, if you need to stay out, what's going to happen here. And especially, I don't want to think of another full course yellow, but, if another one of those come out, what do you do?
Oh, we get another full course yellow. At this point, the strategy is going to get tighter and tighter and tighter. And it's an unenviable situation for these guys. They just want to see the race go to the end. They want to get into a good position, coast to the finish, and just see a solid ending to this race. But we've had so much competition up in the middle and in the front of these classes over the last hour and a half that it's really hard to imagine that this will be a easygoing race or a coastable race up until the end of the race. It's hard to imagine that we'll get to that point. Seeing what we've seen so far, because right now the 554 out there, the pace car out in front, leading things along. This is just a really tough situation for a lot of these cars. With a 32 is in probably the best position right now. Still, that Wastegate Racing car is in probably the best position that they could be overall. With the pit situation, they've got an advantage over the 3 cars ahead of them. We'll see how things play out here.
But right now, the 7 right now, VSR Competition Bianco, currently of Samuel Aragon, is currently sitting in that top overall position and top step of the podium for the GTP class in that Porsche. And then you got Damien Bank in that 10-4 V1M. You got that Ferrari sitting back there all nice and pretty. JD Daniel sitting in 3rd place currently. That is for the PAX Sim Sports team. And then after that, like you said, the 32 is currently sitting there with, you're thinking, the best position right now for Wastegate, Nicholas Pedersen. That team has been out in front as of recently and now sitting outside the podium positions, but we'll see what happens to these top 3, and let's keep, moving along here with the different classes and how things have shaken up here. Ryan Scherlink with the Twin Turns RV by Debecca Bornheim Delara. He's currently sitting in that 23 machine, sitting up front of these LMP2s. Then you got Tiago Maduro Diaz in the 14 for Grow Racing Team Blue. And right behind him, Corey Sircone, way back there, but nonetheless in position for V1M in that 11 machine. Once things shake out, those 3 will be battling it out for the lead of the class. And Joe, do you want to take us through the GT classes?
All right. GT Pro's current leader, Sean Hatfield, is leading Peter Spickman in the 71 car. Spickman has been, we mentioned his name a couple of times here. He's been doing pretty well. And then sitting in 3rd in that class, it's Nicholas Soul. So those are going to be the top 3 to look out for in the GT Pros. And then back in the GTMs, let's talk about Giannis Constantine, that Lamborghini, the only one on the track right now, and the one that we notice every time when it comes around. He's just ahead of Thomas Marcelino. Marcelino sitting back there in 2nd, and finally in 3rd in class in the GTMs, Paolo Amato in the Wolf Motorsport Sim Racing AMG.
Other thing to note is all these beautiful liveries. In the nighttime, you might not see them as well, but it is bright as day in Florida here at Daytona, and all of these cars looking great, and you can see all the different liveries, all the different paint schemes, very unique. Nothing like you can't think of it like F1 where each team has the same livery no matter the class or anything like that. They diversified their cars, and you can put a name or at least a team to a car as of now with all these different liveries that look beautiful. And I know we were talking about it in the prior stint here about an hour and a half ago, but like Paolo Amato and like Thomas Marcelino, those cars I think look pretty good in my opinion. Those are 2 that I like looking at whenever they drive on by. But I know like the Monarch Racing team, those cars look great as well. Just a couple to note as they drive on by, they seem pretty nice and pretty cool to look at as they throw themselves throughout these corners.
Yes. Some of these cars are looking fantastic this morning. What time is it? Completely lost track. It is the morning time, but these cars are looking fantastic, and I've got be sure to thank the boys over at Trading Paints for putting together all the web kit to allow me to see these amazing things here. I'm trying to figure out which one's my favorite.
As you look through there, I noticed the track temp hasn't varied too much. I know it's warmed up a little bit here at 24 degrees Celsius. I believe during the daytime yesterday it was around 21 degrees Celsius, so a little uptick in temperature on the track. Overall atmosphere temperature, though, I'm pretty sure has been very consistent. No rain, a little windy, as you can see. The wind is about it's double digits nonetheless, kilometers per hour. And so now it's settling down to 12, and it's actually going to ramp back up as I say that.
Yeah, can't predict that, my friend. That's all right, though. That full course caution still out now. It's going to be, I think they're getting things. We finished the pit stop runs, so now the second wave of arounds should be finishing any time now. As we get things stacked up.
And the one thing I wanted to see, Joe, I know we were talking about this before, and Scott was bringing up great points on like how the iRacing platform itself has, it's a great middle ground for realistic sim to, say, quote unquote arcade. It has a good balance of overall achieving what you need, making this all possible, making the liveries look great as well. But at the same time, people will complain about the bad things, but there's also great things. When it comes to the iRacing platform and overall, like what you've seen so far during this race, what pros, are you leaning that this would go more towards the iRacing ultimate sim, or do you think it's more of a middle ground in itself? I made a quote unquote comparison to the technology involved in this when I was like much younger. When Mario Kart came out, I couldn't have comprehended that this type of technology would come out after Mario Kart, because I thought Mario Kart would be the ultimate sim rig when I was 10 years old. So
yeah.
When I come into iRacing in today's day of age with everything going on, how do you think it's a good middle ground, or do you think it's pretty close to the real deal?
Well, there's a lot of things that you absolutely cannot simulate in iRacing. It only takes you so far. And I mentioned this, I think, earlier when I was calling it yesterday, with like the inertia you feel when you drive your car, the weight of the car as you hit the brakes, as you hit the gas, as you enter a turn, that centripetal force throwing you throughout the car, that cannot be simulated without a car in motion. And iRacing gets you so close to the real thing in terms of feeling the traction, feeling the tires on the road, feeling what if you hit the brakes hard, you can feel them shake, you feel the tires shake, but you don't really get a sense of how heavy the vehicle is. So I think that iRacing is a fantastic middle ground. I think that it's a simulator. It's not, it's a simulator, not a game. It's a simulator. It's a very good simulator, but it's only so much of a simulator as you can have the technology in real life to get you there. And I've seen some incredible sim rigs with motion, with they tilt forward when you brake, they tilt backward when you accelerate. I've seen the whole deal, and it gets you pretty close, but you really can't simulate inertia in that kind of way. And so I'm going to go with the middle ground route.
Definitely like that. I like that. I agree 100%. I think the technology involved, I think the only way you want to have a perfect sim rig or like sim platform, anything, is you're going to have to just go out to do the real thing. That's the only way you can get a purely realistic feeling, but at the same time, because there's so many aspects in both sides that you can't control, like you said. But nonetheless, it's a good time. I happy that these events, these events, the 24 hours of Daytona, you could just join now. You don't have to be part of a league. They do it, as an event on iRacing, which I think is amazing that you could just have all those servers out there for all those people. And I believe right now we have about 200 drivers currently entered in this race alone. So, that I don't think all 200 are currently sitting in the race spectating. They might be watching the stream right now or might be sleeping. That could be a possibility too. I don't know. But nonetheless, just holding that many people for just a public, just jump in and do whatever type of deal is pretty impressive to me with how everything happens in iRacing. But outside of that, today's race has been pretty good for a number of reasons. I mean, overall, we have a lot of drivers still in the hunt, still going for it, still trying to figure out who's going to make up this podium right now, because we were talking about it before, and right now the names on the podium positions, I don't think too many of them were up there. It's really just outside of maybe the GTM class. I think a lot of these other classes might have got a little bit shaken up from this full course yellow. And, last full course yellow, we saw a lot of not complete carnage, but, some bent fenders, some elbows out, some people ready to go. And with time only coming down to an hour 18, and the possibility of this being the last time you can get positions in chunks, Joe, what are you expecting from these drivers? I mean, I know there's going to be aggressiveness, but do you think it'll be over the top because of the time restriction at this point?
Well, you've got you made such a great point earlier that we got so many drivers that are in contention with each other right now. There's a big possibility in these 24-hour races to get to a point where you've got the leader multiple laps ahead of the next car behind him. And if you look across all four classes here, that's not the case in any of the classes. The leaders are all within seconds of each other, and they have competition within seconds of each other. So I think there's going to be a steady burn. I think it's going to burn constantly up to the very end. Maybe like a fuse that leads to dynamite, perhaps, if I was to use another metaphor. I think we're going to see a steady burn because these guys are going to want to make that progress. They're going to want to stay competitive. And if everybody's driving defensively to maintain positions and waiting to be aggressive for that last 20 minutes of driving, 30 minutes of driving, then that's still going to be, it's still going to look very aggressive on the road. But between lap traffic and cars just getting close to each other, I think it's going to be an exciting race up to the very last second.
What we like to hear, and that definitely makes things interesting to the end of this race. I know in real life there have been multiple Daytona 24-hour races where, the win has come down to the final lap, if not the final turn. So, tonight, or today, however you want to say it at this point, we'll see what happens. I really think this would be shaping up to be a good finish, as you see everyone taking their time around the track, using that pit limiter speed to go and pace themselves to get everyone in order. And like Scott said a couple hours ago, it's hard for these multi-class races to get in form, so that might be why all these cautions feel like they take a little longer than maybe some other series. But nonetheless, it's necessary, and it keeps everyone in line in the right classes, and to ensure that no craziness happens between classes. You don't want third place of JD Daniels 25 cars behind Damian Benke, so he's like trying to just fly through and then something happens. You don't want that to happen. Yeah. So with that all said and done, we're still under full course yellow here and just hanging out. So while this is going on here, as time goes on, just in case the stewards decide this is the one to green, we're gonna do our commentator switch here. We have is a pleasure to commentate alongside Joe LaCostro here. And Joe, you have any final words here before we make the switch?
Well, Thank you for having me, my friend. It was a good time. It was. I didn't really expect to be calling a 24-hour race, but when I got the offer, I took it immediately because these are always so exciting, and I will be tuning in and catching the end of this race. I want to see how this is going to turn out.
Me as well. I will make sure to keep my stream up here for the final hour, as I hope everyone else does as well. We're going to toss the reins over here to Alex Gagnon, Justin Prince, two commentators you might have heard already from yesterday, but they are back and here ready to call the rest of this race here today. So it's a pleasure for everyone watching here today, and we will catch you later.
Yes, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. As we get ready to see how things close out for today, Justin Prince alongside Alex Gagnon, as we get ready to see how things play out pretty soon. Alex, down to the final hour or so coming up here, down to the hour in 6 minutes or so. In fact, it should be a thriller to the very end.
Yeah, absolutely. And, for better or for worse, having a full course yellow within the last 90 minutes of the event means that we're basically going to get treated to a sprint race in the finale here. And I'm looking across the leaderboard in each of these classes. Still got a bunch of folks on the lead lap here. And really, because everyone will be grouped back up for this full course yellow, so many names who are still in contention here, just nearing the 23-hour mark. I mean, truly, anyone's race really at the moment. I mean, just in GTP alone, you got 8 guys who are still, or 8 cars that are still on this lead group. And when they let them loose, I mean, who knows what's going to happen? Because you're at a window now where you can really go nuts. You've only got sort of the 1 hour to go, and with everyone in the same sort of spot, it's going to lead to a lot of action on the racetrack, I have no doubt.
Absolutely, and this is going to be interesting how things close out. Absolutely, for those tuning in here, VSR competition, you have go up in the front of the field with Samuel Aragon right now leading the way in the GTPs. That's followed by V1M and Pac Simsport, who's recovered from an early crash in the first few hours at the very least, to be right back in the thick of things. Bunch your top 3 Wastegate, who controlled much of the way earlier on, down in the 4th position. Twin turn SRV by Declan Bornheim currently leads the way, by the way, in your LMP2s at the moment. Pro Racing Team Blue, V1M Rescue Skill by WMS and Fury Simsport, a part of that top 5. All while you compare things to the GT Pros, Sean Hatfield driving the way at the moment for Vulture Motorsports Pro, leads the way in those cars. Right behind him is SimCity Racing's Peter Spikeman. You also have 211 Racing in the conversation. Nicholas Soul once again behind the wheel in the closing stages here. Also throw in the mix, Blanca Motor in the conversation for the GT Pro side of things. The M side of things, by the way, led by Yanis Konstantin, who's driving the wheels for Daily Car Market Aries Racing. You throw in the conversation Thomas Marcelino, who is driving the wheels for BMW M Team TSR GTN. It's worth noting for those just tuning in, top 30 has stayed out of this caution period. 4th and 5th took fuel only, taking a risk on the tire stints for the GTPs, a part of the strategy. We're coming up to the restart though, Alex, this time through. It's going to get nerve-wracking for some of these drivers pretty soon to try and divide things up to end it.
Yeah, some nervous excitement, I'm sure, up in those a couple top spots. But if you get a little further back into the pack here, this might be one of the more dicey restarts we've had all day long. Just knowing how little time is left on the clock, everyone's going to be going for every position they can get their hands on. And that run down the turn 1 could get real interesting if someone decides this is the moment to try to make their move.
So remember the restart coming out of Le Mans chicane, the bus stop down the back straightaway here in the next moment. Tries to set themselves up well here. So what are you watching for off this restart in particular here, especially with an hour 10? You're talking about probably for the entire field 1 more pit stop the rest of the way.
Yeah, most likely. I find it unlikely that anyone is going to be able to stretch from here unless they were to pit right about now and then really get lucky with a break here or there. But this is that moment where you just, got to make sure you keep all the fenders on this thing and want to put yourself in the best position where that you're not trying to pit at a spot where it's going to cost you in that last, say, 30 to 45 minutes. Want to make sure you get a nice full stint at the end there as we are back up and rolling. And here they go through the banked ovals, getting up to speed.
Off to a clean start as you would expect here. Now the question is, will it stay clean? After seeing some attrition pop up, the battle's off for the lead. Side by side to the outside goes V1 M10. Damian Benke trying to make the move for the high side. Actually opens the door for JD Daniel instead. Daniel takes away second.
And that might not be the only one, as he is right to the back bumper of Aragon here going into the International Horseshoe LMP2. Oh, someone's off. And LMP2 spinning the 512 down and around. Rescue skill by WMS trying to get back and rolling here.
Black flagged here as well. That's Marcus Young, who's having to roll through the grass. Just about everyone else, I think, has survived here at the very least. But already, J.D. Daniel moving himself up to the second position, but also Nicholas Pedersen in the top three. And keep an eye on Wastegate. They can go further on the gas tank compared to everybody else. Only the 6 laps on fuel. An air driver in the grass. The 83 has rolled off into the grass. That will end up seeing, once again, some of the air drivers have issues here. Let's take a look at the replay, though, with the LMP2s.
This is the rescue skill incident. The LMP2's back here in turn 3. Yeah, a little bit of dirt maybe on the track. Cold tires, just did not get the traction. He was trying to get the hammer down. That's a tough place to go side by side, and ultimately it cost him dearly here. No damage to the car, it seems like, which is a good sign, but certainly going to cost him a lot of track position here with not a lot of time left.
Yep. Off the S's was the driver pushed off there. Let's see Blanco, though. 283 going the wrong way around, way off in the Narnia.
That was basically a carbon copy of what we saw to the rescue skill machine. Now, oh, GTP's around. Wastegate Racing sideways right through turns 2 and 3. That time, though, I think there may have been a little bit of help.
One of the main contenders at GTP sent off the racetrack. They have been contending since the start of this event. Now they're cutting on through to the course. Let's take a look here. This was with Pax side by side, a little squeeze.
Yeah, and again, it's just that area, especially for the GTPs with how big those cars are, there's just not a lot of room there in 2 and 3 to really make it work. And it sounds like a black flag now for that 32 machine. Brutal time for that to come up, especially with how quick they've been today. But, they're going to have a little bit of time to try to rebound from it, but easier said than done with only an hour 6 left.
Yeah, a lot of drivers are giving themselves black flags with the incident points bottling up. Remember, the incident penalties was originally 10 coming into today for the drivers. So we're starting to see that really come into play for a lot of drivers in the late stages at the worst possible time here.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit a second ago there, Justin, about how this restart could get a little dicey, and it was for, we saw cars in 3 of the 4 classes have some issues there in turns 2 and 3 within the opening lap and a quarter. Looks like things have started to settle in a little bit here as we'll take a look at this battle for GT Pro. I mean, the battle for the lead here, no matter when you've looked at it over the past 23 hours, this has been one of the action classes for sure. Right now, Vulture Motorsports has that lead, but maybe not for long. Say the same thing here for the lead in LMP2.
You see right now, Ryan Serlick trying to hold on defensively. Tiago Duro Diaz on the push, though, for Grow Racing Team Blue, a part of their approach here. Keep in mind, a part of the strategies, you have Corey Sircone, who could go a little bit further on the tank with the pit stop with the last caution, 6-lap offset. That's the third-place car in this road. So that's a part of the different strategy here for some of these LMP2s, hoping the track position holds up here with the pit stops when they have to come in pretty soon.
Yeah, and the big thing about having 6 laps more on the tank is not necessarily that you could not necessarily just go further, but it gives you more options of when you do decide to come down pit road. Surlik and Diaz right now may be a little more limited in the options that they have of when they can come down pit road to make it to that 24-hour mark. Sircon's going to be able to pick and choose their spot a little bit more, which could be advantageous, especially if they're running this close to the lead here, as they'll make their way down to the bus stop.
Hearing something happening for the 94 SWF Motorsports. Hearing just got an air black flag. Marcus Taylor. Well, this is a good way to get a black flag. He gets turned around.
Yeah, coming off of the banked oval here of NASCAR 1 and 2, making their way down toward the bus stop and sliding through that back infield. That is not a place we've seen a lot of cars go around tonight.
Let's see the run from the car behind. Was it because he was a little bit further away from the wall, or did the car below come up, you think?
From that angle, that's a little tough to tell, but you know they were not giving each other a ton of space, and even under the best of circumstances there. And ultimately, it ends around for the 94, and that is, you know, they were able to get that thing back to the pits, fortunately, but you know that's going to cost them a lot of time.
Now let's see this a different angle on this. This a different way to look. He did bunt to the wall.
Yeah, it does seem like one of those classic cases of one driver expects one person to go one way, the other driver expects the other person to go the other way, and they both did the same thing, ended up in the same bit of real estate, and around they go.
So that ends up seeing a few more people pick up black flags as we have traffic management to deal with. GTM leaders battling out. Marcelino trying to hold on a part of this group. Constantine started things up at the top for this group, trying to find a way to keep up. Battle with some of the BMWs a part of this pack here.
And now taking a dive to the inside. Oh, that's going to get a little dicey. Nice move there. He was able to make it stick. That is not an easy pass to make, but a nicely executed one. Gets them the lead here in GTM.
So up to the front goes Dale Ricard yet again to the point for now, but it looks like it's not done. Look at this. Off below the yellow line for a split second, and LMP2 will disrupt this battle. Oh no!
Whoa.
The 9 nearly blends in and contact was there. A little bit of a connection distance between the two of the drivers this time, and that spins around second.
That is class racing in a nutshell. You know, you're so focused on your battle for position in the class. That was the leaders there in GTM. A faster LMP trying to get on by, and they all found each other just the absolute worst time on the racetrack, and they all paid for it either in time or in spinning. That was brutal.
Here comes Vulture and SimCity Racing, though, in their battle up the inside, going to 71. Your contact on the send as Sean Hatfield tries to hold on over.
Oh, and the 71's around.
It's round goes the 71 with it.
Oh man, that is a brutal break there for SimCity Racing. We had an opportunity to talk to their team manager Jason Allen back in the opening third of this show. He was really optimistic about their chances. They had worked their way back into perfect position. And now they got to go right back on the horse here and try to get all of that back. But instead of having about 14 hours to work with, now they've only got 1.
See what happened here. You look away for a split second, and around it goes. Too much throttle. Looped it around. And so here comes the GTPs now to deal with the GTs. So far, so decent in terms of the close-up of these battles, but keep an eye on things up in the front. Things getting bottled up here with drivers like Mello joining the conversation. So like
Things getting... Oh, go ahead.
I was about to say, JD Daniel getting pushed up out of the groove too there, Alex.
Yeah, it's been an up and down start on the restart here for Pack SimSport. They got as high as second. Now they've dropped down as far as fifth. as the new contender up here to try to take the lead away from Aragon is Thiago Mello. And that Lion GP entry that is really sort of come on here late in the day. They had some early issues, but they look really fast here and almost had a chance out of the bus stop to make something happen there. Almost a bit of a block as they were trying to get around some of those GT cars.
How do you do for the pass is the big question now with the line of GTs to the inside. It's a 4-car breakaway for the GTPs. Here comes the Sid for Daniel. Forcing it to the inside for third. Will this work out for the inside line? The answer is maybe. Looks like yes. Decent traction off the corner.
This is some fantastic stuff happening in GTP right now as they make their way into the International Horseshoe. Here comes World of Sim Racing on the rally back, trying to get around the PAX Sim Sport entry. But right now, GTP trying to work their way through all the GT3 cars. And it is causing a lot of accordion effects here in all of these infield corners. This is a tough part to navigate, especially when traffic is this dense. Could see a lot of shuffling in the order here.
Right now, Aragon breaking away a little bit, but there's a lot of pressure all over the back end of all this. 2/10 the distance up in the front for the time being. You can see just where the traffic started to break up some of the toe opportunities, though, to build up an extra 10 for the Lion GP and Bravo Snow. Keep in mind, for VSR competition, they've had to scratch and claw to get to this position here today, especially since they started off in the 6th position and now look to take advantage of some of the attrition, especially with Wastegate getting spun around. Remember though, 2nd in line and 4th in line, as we said, are offset of that strategy. Pretty soon, the 7 and the 55 will have to come in, and they better make sure it's within 45 minutes or so.
Yeah, absolutely. We are kind of getting to that point, especially now for the GTPs, where if you were to stop in the next couple of laps, you should be able to make it to the end under green flag conditions. So everyone's starting to think, I'm sure, about that final stop they're going to need to make. Any last thoughts on strategy that they're going to be running into? And I think this is going to be interesting because it's tough to be considering the strategy too much just for yourself if you're in this lead pack. I mean, we got the top 3 cars within half a second right now for GTP. So you got to be a little conscious about what you think the other cars are going to be thinking on strategy in addition to yourself. Obviously, the focus is on what your team is doing and what you can control, but it's something you're just going to keep an eye on, and it adds just another factor into this final stop.
We'll see where the thought process goes. Keep in mind, VSR competition based out of Spain, and then around since 2017. Still trying to maintain the distance with the slalom coming on up. Tough thing about all this is making sure there's no bits of contact here, especially since you're talking about some of the top runners for GTP or GT, I should say, that are trying to blend through. Traffic management's been critical all throughout this event, I will say, Alex. But we've seen it in particular with chances like here. Look at the big gap just to reach some of the GTs at the wrong time. 2nd is battling on, but they've lost a lot of ground.
Yeah, just trying to work their way there. I mean, getting caught up in some of the GT3 traffic in the bus stop cost them basically a second. As you see, the PAX Sim Sport entry currently wielded by JD Daniel, now up to that 2nd spot, makes the pass here on Thiago Mello. That being said, when we saw them in this section of the racetrack last lap, they were within half a second, all 3 of them. They're now nearly 2 seconds back of Aragon, just working their way through traffic. 7's got to be loving what they're seeing right now.
Exactly. Though a lot of attention going to the leaders here, but this train is your longest pack together here in the field. See the approach right now. Remember, with the hybrid system, going to have to play the cards right on the energy store, so to speak, when it comes to these GTPs. V1M trying to remain in distance. Damien here is a part of those that is in the worst of fuel mileages, like the top 2 here, and they are struggling to keep up with this pole right now at the time being. They're losing a lot of ground with the traffic.
Yeah, we're only a handful of minutes removed from the restart off the full course yellow. This is about the first time that they're all really cycling through the bulk of traffic before anyone can really get separated in GT Pro, GTM, and even to a degree LMP2. So, every lap that goes by is going to be a little dicey, I'm sure, trying to work through traffic, but it should get a little better, especially as we work our way into the final round of pit stops. Might spread some folks out just a little bit more, make traffic a little bit more manageable, and it turns battles more into one-on-one versus what we're seeing right now for Aragon, which is trying to work through 7-8 cars at a time.
At this point, see that right now with 57 in particular to the outside, trying to make sure there's no squeezes there as they make their way on through. By the way, as things go for the battle packs, we've had Vulture Motorsports just peel down and finish a pit stop. They were your top drivers in GT Pro, so Nicholas Soul has taken over there. Sorlik is still in front in LMP2, but it's only less than 2/10 a part of their playing of the game. Now keep in mind, they're also in a similar situation. We mentioned for the class, V1M is right on behind, a little bit on the distance, but has the better mileage to think about for their window yet again. So you can see just right now, in control, just letting things ride, Twin Turn SR has been up front most of the weekend.
Yeah, they have had a really strong sort of flag-to-flag run here. They've been looking really sharp at all aspects of it, but this Grow Racing team, the 14, they have been in the mix time and time again today and in perfect position to try to be battling it out here for the top spot. That V1M entry, currently piloted by Sircone, that's the one that I'm really fascinated to see what they're going to be doing here when we get to this final round of stops. Because it will be really interesting to see if they decide to come in at the same time that the 23 and the 14 do, or if they try to get a little off cycle, maybe spend a little bit less time on pit road if they can run it a little bit further. You got more options when you have a little bit more fuel in the tank, and because they've been able to mirror this distance so well to the race lead, even just a second on pit road could jump them 2 spots here.
Exactly. Going to be extremely important here in terms of this plan. Check it back in with GTP, by the way. Still no major changes up at the point for them as we approach the final 52 minutes. We'll say, talking about the storylines, one of the drivers that's really pushing here, second on those who can go a little further, Denny Fonte, right now is Avanzo's pushing ahead. You know who's pushing too much? The 4 machine going around with contact. Obviously, side by side of the bus stop, a little bit treacherous, especially in that case if you're Superstar Racing Team.
Yeah, that was it was also a really tough place to come to rest temporarily in the middle of the bus stop. Luckily, there was not too many more people coming by, so he was able to get away. But also worth noting, Locomotori now a black flag for Tyler Redden. I believe it's another incident point count here. So they'll have to make their way down pit road temporarily, which is tough because they were right in the thick of it here for that GT Pro lead. They were within a second of the race leader. Now going to have to give that up and lose a good chunk of time.
Exactly. That's going to shuffle things up a fair bit for them on the strategy. The interesting thing is they are in the window, the GTs are, to make it the distance as we were referring to with the timing of the restart just about. Oh, wow. JD Daniel continues to try and go in hunt mode. Now, keep in mind the pit stop delta here, something to keep in mind. About 1 minute and 10 seconds, 1 minute and 12 seconds for the top drivers here. Depending on how things go here, if you're third on back, do you take a risk and take a little bit less fuel?
I mean, it's going to be one of those situations, I think, where the moment you feel confident, you can hit your number and anything's an option. But the other thing you want to do is you don't want to come down pit road too early, top off with too much fuel, make the car a lot heavier, and then not get the speed you're looking for. But to your point, if you really try to cut it to a razor's edge, and you're not burning fuel as efficiently as you need to in the last, say, 30 to 40 minutes, you could be putting yourself in a real bad spot coming to like the last lap of the race. So it is really a fine balanced line that these team managers are trying to put together right now. But it really, I think, is going to be whoever blinks first in this lead group is going to cause a lot of other drivers to consider doing the same. Is now looking for the lead here. Daniel to the outside of Aragon, temporarily in turn 4. The battle is on for the race lead here in GTP.
Getting very feisty here on the outside. Looking to send again. Mello getting very feisty, trying to make these moves as quick as possible before they peel down so they don't lose some time, maybe get some net time to be able to pull away a little bit from this pack. And do you blame them for trying to go this early on the push, knowing they'll get clean air in a little bit and lose that tow effect from the top 2 to save fuel?
Yeah, I don't think you really can blame them at this point. I mean, you've put yourself in position where at this point your bed is more or less made, and you got to just execute with what you got. This is some interesting stuff as we're coming down to the line. This battle third on back we see on the screen right now. Lion GP trying to hold off the World of Sim Racing team and BMW Delta, all within about a half second of each other, but they are just a little bit here losing touch with the top 2.
Yeah, the top 2 really trying to get feisty here. Here it comes Pack Sim Sport. JD Daniel to the outside. Daniel trying to get the pole. Instead, can't get the outside to work. And that's been so difficult to stick all weekend. To make those moves for the high groove, you need to find a way to peel to the bottom, it seems.
Yeah, that's usually the better way to get it done. You get that run, you try to go to the outside. It's definitely no surprise right now that VSR Competitor is really running a bit of a defensive line right now, trying to hold on to that top spot, trying to hold on to that track position. But the more that these two battle, the more it's going to let the 20 and the 51 and the 12, all of these guys can work their way back into the battle here if they're getting too scrappy. So I almost wonder if the top 2 need to settle in for a second here, try to open up that gap again a little bit, because they have let Thiago Mello get right back into the picture here. You can see him just coming up behind him there. It's only about 6-7 car lengths here. As they'll work their way into the bus stop, that will definitely compress. So, the battling up front, fantastic stuff, but they may be making it an even more busy battle if they keep this up.
Exactly. The more they scrap, the more they open the door for everybody else to immediately try and close. Right now, we're seeing that especially with the 51. So as they calm down for a split second, let's look at this with the traffic, as this is going to cost them a lot of ground. That was 3 wide. That's not appreciated, you would say, as that will slow them up, and just about all the ground they gained is gone.
Yeah, certainly seems like it. Everyone getting stacked up here going into turn 1. Aragon and Daniel within a stone's throw. Mello now trying to hold off the World of Sim Sport entry. Danny Fonte right on the back bumper. Some great battling here for both first and third in GTP. Can't count out that car currently running in 5th. I want to say that's the V1M entry as well. So, it's the BMW Delta team in the 12. So there's a lot of fantastic stuff happening in this class. It's really fun to see how competitive it is here, even now with only 46 minutes left. I mean, there's still a lot of names, a lot of contenders who are going to be duking it out here for the top spots.
All right, so let's take a look at what happened to 2. It's been a rough day if you're the fan of No Limit Sim Racing Academy from the start. Another spin, and remember, this car has taken heavy damage a few times over the course of the event, 9 laps down.
At this point, just trying to make it to the end of this thing, to celebrate making it to the end of the 24 hours. But yeah, to your point, currently running in the 9th spot, a handful of laps down from this lead pack, just trying to keep this thing together and make it to the end here, because half the battle is just making it to the end of a 24-hour race. Over the course of this thing, I mean, they're going to be making, over like 8,000 turns, and it only takes one of them to really mess up your day. So the amount of skill on display here since, just about this time yesterday has really been nothing short of phenomenal.
Under 45 minutes to go, and while they continue to battle, one of the other battles was just about to mention before the 3 wide broke the pack up a bit. One of the teams that's currently in a good situation in terms of potential strategy, top 3, Track Limit Sim Racing Thunderbolt, the 420 machine, is third amongst the LP2s. They're in the midst of this hornet's nest, right in some of these battles, in fact, but are first in their net strategy. Randy Marino rejoining us here with the broadcast booth. Randy, do you have a copy?
I have a copy.
First things first, how are you feeling about the strategy? A little bit behind the 23 and 14, but you have that fuel offset compared to them for your pit stop coming up.
I think we're set up for where we want to be. Obviously, we've made the right decisions so far to be on the lead lap with the other top 4 LMP2s who've obviously done a fantastic job themselves. V1M and Grow, and I believe that's Turn Racing or something like that. They're doing a great job, but I think we're sitting pretty.
How would you describe the chaos when it comes to the closing stages here? I know a caution period, of course, set up this opportunity in the first place for these split strategies, and there's near contact going on in front of you as well.
Yeah, it's been pedal to the metal, as they say, for probably the past hour and a half. People kind of pulled the trigger a little early. We were having to make passes for position for the past hour. Michael's been in there making moves. Greg's been in there making moves. I was in there having to make some moves, and it's definitely, the intensity has been kicked up quite a few notches.
So at this point, how do you respond to said intensity to close things out? What's kind of that message to your drivers with the way the intensity's played out here late?
I think the whole plan was that, hey, it just ending up on the lead lap, behind the last safety car, hopefully, so we have a fighting chance, was always the hope and the goal. At least we'd be right there in the fight. We've got a great driver in there, Michael Williams, and he can make some moves. He's already made some nice moves this race, so we figure it's just going to come down to a fight, and so he's digging deep. He's making some aggressive moves. It's a fight out there, but I see some hard, fair, clean racing, and that's what it's going to take.
So on the note, any other notes you want to mention before we get back to your team here, especially with how things are starting to scrap out in the class here, getting close?
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one to watch this last hour, and just shout out to my team, Track Limits. It's fun doing this stuff with a bunch of guys. That's the main thing here, is a bunch of bros hanging out, good camaraderie, and hopefully we get a podium position out of it.
Good luck the rest of the way here, Randy.
Thank you.
Randy Marino, his team, currently controlling things in their part of the strategy, at least, in LP2 in the top 3. But as you can see on screen, GTP is getting scrappy again. This is for second now. Right now, Fontaine trying to find a way around Mello yet again. 2 seconds the distance to the 7. Through that, the 55 has already pit for their service.
One quick thing to note as well while we were talking to Randy Marino is that the last time I remember talking to him in the booth was back around the 8-hour mark, and that 420 machine had a pretty gnarly incident through the bus stop, cost them a bit of time, significant bit of damage. They have rallied in a big way to put themselves back in position here, overcoming that. It's been cool to watch. Speaking of cool to watch, I mean, look at this battle we got going on right here for the second spot. Lion GP, World of Sim Racing. These two got stuck together about 5 laps ago, Justin, and they have been refusing to get unglued since. It has been full on between these two, and really all 3 of them, counting that BMW Delta team that's been lurking in the shadows just behind them.
So we'll watch for the next stop here for the 7 machine when they peel on down coming up. Oh, wow. Will there be a chance for a dive for World of Sim Racing pretty soon? Well, there is dive into traffic with the LMP2s, but not all too much here. You also have to keep by BMW M team Delta Racing. They're in the conversation here too with all this. Actually getting held up a fair bit with some of the braking zones, having to check up in the middle of the apexes to avoid contact.
Yeah, I mean, they've been in this battle with Lion GP and World of Sim Racing more or less since we got going from that full course yellow about half an hour ago. They've been right in the mix here, just maybe a step behind these two to this point, but has not let them get away in the slightest, and definitely in position to capitalize if either one of them makes a mistake or if something goes down on pit road. Really giving themselves a good chance here as they'll work their way back up into the banked oval, working their way toward the backstretch. And the only thing I think that's working against Douglas Souza right now is the fact that those two cars in front of him are battling so intensely that they are fully in each other's draft anytime they hit one of these straightaways. Oh, man.
Oh, no, that's way off the racetrack with the course cut. BMW Team Delta Racing having to take the shortcut, and that has to be a bit of a slowdown even with the slalom course there.
Yeah, 100%. Just got, I think, a little too tight in there with, I think that was an LMP2 that was trying to make their turn and ran out of room. As we've got some cars coming down pit road now. The World of Sim Racing entry, as well as the leader in LMP2, that 23 of Twin Turn SRV by Rebecca Bornheim. Both of them down pit road, so that last pit cycle fully underway now, Justin.
Let's get set to the end. Let's take a look at this, though. Outside usually doesn't work. Oh, that was a hit to the outside wall, too.
Did a really good job working through the slowdown there to not burn up a ton of time, but brutal break there. So we'll take a look here. Got another spin to report, this being in the 515 coming out of pit road.
Oh,
or I don't think that's a spin. That might have been actually a bit of contact with one of the LMP2s.
Yeah, that was a blend up the racetrack, actually, into Wolf Motorsport Sim Racing. There's already been a shuffle as well for the rest of the M class, as right now the M class now controlled by the 912 in the midst of the window. Team FR13DA Sport, with the way things have shuffled over Scott McGarvey. Dane Hodgson driving the wheels for the 912 as we go. But the chaos is starting to reign supreme here, it seems. But the strategy roulette coming into play, as said, with Pax. You see, though, no one to draft off of. 7 seconds, that delta or so to some cars. And there goes one Sim Racing team off the track.
Came in too hot. I think that was turn 6. The West Horseshoe, I think, maybe trying to track down that Pax Sim Sport car and just overdid it. Oh boy, into the tire barriers as well. That's going to cause a bit of left front damage. And at this point, that might be catastrophic to their chances of going out there and trying to win GPP. They were in the mix. That damage, though, not sure how much it's going to affect them. But there's still a lot of race left to be dealing with damage if you do not have any more scheduled pit stops here. Another car off to the side.
Yeah, someone stopped, and that might bring a caution. I'm not sure that's a tow area. 68 getting dived on prototypes, but right now no signals yet. Going racing amongst those in the pits. That is the Grow Racing team that just got the tow in the 14 car. Remember, they were one of the contenders in LMP2.
Yeah, I think the classic case we saw with World of Sim Sport N here, you get so focused, so into the rhythm of trying to do what you're doing. Cold tires just does not handle the same, especially in LMP2 and GTP. You have to take a real concentrated effort to get those tires heated up, and I think same deal, cold tires overslid it. And we're seeing a lot of drama here in the closing 40 minutes in both GTP and LMP2. I mean, a lot of cars shuffling around here as we're taking a look here at the lead in GT Pro. That is the gap right now between telemetry and double stint. Right now, about a second in GT Pro.
Yeah, right now, double stint trying to figure out a way to chip away in your second gap at the moment on the interval. With their current windows here, keep in mind, Right now, you're talking about 25 laps into the stint. Still have to come down, take a short fuel to be able to get to the end of this race. That's going to be part of the factor here. But right now, the 68, one of the better teams all throughout the event, holding on. GT Pro, Darnie, so is the GTP side you see here for the battle. What's fifth for now with VSR, trying to hold off World of Sim Racing Team.
A good battle going on there. We're taking a look here. VSR, World of Sim Racing. Cars shuffling through for their stops. Going through the bus stop, and yeah, they both get a big piece of the sausage curbs in there. Gets them offline a little bit, costs them a little bit of time. So the battle continues here. Currently scored 5th in GTP. There's a couple cars up there who still need to make their final stop, so they'll cycle out a little bit higher. But battle very heavy right now between the 7 and the 51.
Yeah, this is an important battle in terms of the net positioning on the racetrack. Net, what would be third on the line. Net first potentially.
Whoa, what was that? No! Oh, no! Hit! The GT Pro just came across the infield and wiped out the VSR car. Oh, good Lord. That was not what you want to see with 30 minutes to go.
Yeah. Don't know if there's going to be any toes. It looks like everyone's going. But that was a rough spot for the horseshoes to have a bit of contact there. Everyone is starting to stack up behind. 7. You can tell with the speed difference. Still trying to get up to pace after the contact. What a wild moment once again for some of the contenders here.
That is a brutal turn of events for VSR Competition. Sounds like Samuel Aragon, the black flag listed as well for the 7 due to the incident points. Not that this was... Oh, it looked like there may have been a little bit of contact earlier on. And then as this car's trying to get back onto the racing line, I mean, that's just a bad place to try to remerge, but just wiped them out. I don't think the Leafs don't take too kindly to the double bit of interaction there between those two. That's a tough, I mean, even under the best of circumstances, a tough situation, especially when you only got 30 minutes left after you've been running for 23 and a half hours. This is how it starts. A little bit of contact there. The GT3 gets shoved out of the way a little bit, and then as they're trying to work their way back onto the racetrack, just right back into the 7. Yeah, they were trying to get it. They were trying to get that car slowed down. Sounds like they were on the brakes the whole way through, but just carried a lot of speed in there, and that's all she wrote.
The brakes just didn't want to work with the slide to the grass, to say the very least. Telemetry Racing, double stint, back with them. You see them trying to build up the runs at this point. So what do you do if you're double stint here? We just talked about differences on fuel. What's the approach for you if you try and close up in the 57's case here?
Let's take a look here when they last stopped. The difference is about a lap that double stint has an extra in fuel over the telemetry car. So they have slightly more options, but not enough to make it particularly a robust change in strategy. I think if you're double stint, if you're confident in the speed that Sam Spinell has behind the wheel right now, I almost think you just mirror what the 68's doing, come down pit road simultaneously, get back out there and go hunt them down for the class win. If you've got the confidence that he can go out there, or they can go out there and make this thing happen. We've seen the 57 look really fast throughout the running of this thing. Same with this telemetry entry, though. I mean, Nicolas Soli has been really, really good behind the wheel. That 68 has looked really strong. And they're putting on some fun battling. The good news is, if you're either of these guys, you've got an 8-second advantage back to SimCity Racing in the moment. That's 71 car. So you've got a little bit of room to not worry about anyone else in the class other than these two, as they're getting caught up in a little bit of traffic here, trying to get up to speed. This could be a move for the class lead as they are caught behind the 151.
Is that the car that just went around 2? That's a bad spot to reach one of Sim Racing Team this time. Looks like they'll blend off the racing line and onto the apron. But here comes Double Stint with the toe. Can they get the outside to work? Coming to 30 minutes to go. This time through. The BMW on the outside, trying to get the power. Ends up having to back it up instead. Not going to force it looks like.
Now we are under that half an hour mark. Sounds like we're hearing there's also a penalty, Benicio. Black flag for Thiago Mello, currently third in GTP. That's the Lion GP entry in the 20. They're going to have to serve the black flag, which is incredibly brutal because with Douglas Souza still needing to come down pit road, they were only a second off of what would be the provisional class lead in JT Daniel there. A brutal turn of events there for the 20.
Takes them right out of contention for the podium just like that. But now at this point, the thought process here for a lot of these teams is going to be, can you make sure to limit the mistakes? And we're seeing a lot of them pop up. There's at least 4 or 5 different battle packs going on, mind you. Of note, BMW M Team Delta just peeled down pit road. Douglas Souza is now down the lane. This is their money stop to try and hold on. Will they be able to take advantage, though, of a shorter fuel delta and hold on in front of the 55?
It's going to be tight. You know, they had about a 52-second advantage coming down the lane. A lot of these GTPs have been on pit road for just a little over a minute. Less fuel that'll have to go into the car for the 12 will work to their advantage. I don't know if it's going to be that many seconds, though. It'll be really interesting to see. You see now the 12 merging off of pit road. That's Pack Simsport working their way off of NASCAR Ovals 3 and 4. They might be in a good spot here as they'll cycle back in through turn 1. They will probably have the advantage, but on cold tire, or not cold tire, yeah, they'll be trying to hold them off here. Easier said than done. The difference is going to be
a 10-second difference on the pit delta is going to give the Brazilian-based driver Douglas Souza up to the front of the field. Now it's the matter of can they hold on the rest of the way, as now they have to deal with some of the traffic. It's a 6-second difference. It's already reducing down because they're trying to get around one of the go-win cars. It's going to be, will JD Danny be able to chip away? That's easier said than done in the closing stages here. What do you do if you're the 55 to close up the gap? Or, in case the LMP2s, what do you do if you're, say, the 420, now that you've got the lead over the 23?
Yeah, I mean, to answer your question about the 55, it's just catching slower traffic at advantageous parts on the track, so you're not getting held up in traffic too much because you can't afford it with only 27 minutes left. But for what we're watching here in LMP2, huge turn of events as Track Limit Sim Racing takes the lead in the class over Twin Turn SR. And that 23 has more or less been up front all day today, but they've both made their stops. This is the run to the finish for both of these cars. And we were hearing from Randy Marino a little while ago. Has a lot of confidence in his teammate there, Michael Williams, and maybe for good reason, as he has set sail here trying to get by Ryan Serlich and is starting to put a little bit of distance between the two. But that 23 has been so fast today. I'd find it really hard to believe that car is going to be fading away now when it's been so strong for 23 and a half hours.
Keep in mind, it gets very much so tighter when it comes to caution periods for this point forward here, because once you get to a threshold in the next couple minutes, can't really go for the long caution periods. It becomes quickies after that point, so you better make sure you know what you want to do on your approach. Michael Williams, meanwhile, his approach, build the buffer for this 420 camp. Right now, you can see just how much Serlich has the pole. Once he's got things lined up here, he's gained a second, 6/10 the previous. That time by slower with traffic, but the 23 seems to be quicker on the raw speed. Oh, here they go. Here we got onside for a moment.
Gonna look to the outside here in the International Horseshoe. Gonna try to do a little over-under situation. Defensive line from Williams trying to hold on to that spot. Side by side they go in the 5. This is a dicey place to go door to door. And Serlich now, maybe he's got the advantage, but they're catching a little bit of GTM traffic. Puts Williams back in front temporarily. Boy, this is going to go a heavyweight bout here for the lead in LMP2.
Yeah. Take a look at this quickly. Run time to reach traffic as this is going to push off the 20. Well off the racing surface is Line GP Bravo Snow as Mello has things stacked up trying to get around more of the Corvettes. Here comes the LMP2 lead, side by side, up to Le Mans. Twin turn SRV on the outside trying to get the cut, forced to dive back in and reset for the front stretch.
Surlick's got a lot of speed. He just needs to get one of these corners where he can get alongside in a spot where they can run too wide. Williams doing a great job trying to play defense right now. But here we go up to the top. Here comes the Surlick machine again. The 23 going to have the advantage at the start-finish line. Is he going to be able to clear him in the one? I think he will. Boy, did not clear by much.
Yeah, this is 1 and 2 battles going on because the GT Pros have also just had a swap. Sully just lost the lead to the class. Spinell has been able to take the advantage for the 57 camp, and now it's the question, can telemetry be able to respond back here compared to double stint as they build the buffer? You see the LP2's top, GT's at the bottom.
Two different battles for the class lead as things sit right now. LMP2 on your left, GT Pro on your right. All four classes within 5 seconds here with 23 minutes to go. Can't ask for anything more than this. You see there Williams and Surlick continue to work their way now onto the banking. Only about 3 car lengths between them. You could say the same for Spinell and Soli. I mean, just some fantastic stuff.
Really big opportunities here indeed. Now the question, will there be another chance to pop on by? Here comes some more traffic. You see this right now for the prototypes to the outside. In fact, that's the 20 again. Trying to get around. Looks like they will for the time being. That was a little bit sketchy. What if Sim Racing just about spun it around?
Yeah, and this is in this battle right here with the GT Pro leaders. So there's everyone in this pack really fighting for something at the moment as you see these GTPs trying to work their way on by. Big winner through all that actually might have been the 57 car. Spinell got about another 4/10 of an advantage here now over Nicholas Soli. Starting to open up that gap just a little bit. There's double stint now starting to open up this gap a little bit, taking advantage of the chaos and the traffic as the GTPs went by.
One of your closest battles left on the racetrack. By the way, the AM side has separated out by 2.5 seconds. Oh, contact! Oh. Hard hit! Rusty Spatulas, believe. Black flags for both cars as that's heavy damage. 88 involved. RTR.
Yeah, the RTR machine driven by Moreos and Rusty Spatulas, Hanna Hakkinen, both of them hit with the black flag here for, I think, incident points is just contact going in the one, back bumper off on the 88. Man. The drama continues here in the closing minutes, and never a dull moment at Daytona.
Here we go. Morero's huge shunt to the back end of the car in front. That's definitely not going to be appreciated as you see Rusty Spatulas trying to hobble their way towards pit lane. Oh, wow. The LP2's 21 minutes to work with. Surlick now looking to go on the brake. Michael G. Williams has to find a way to dig and dig deep to be able to keep up. Surlick seems to have the good raw speed to break away here on the Delta.
Yeah, they've been going back and forth a couple times here. They've been using the draft to good effect. Williams got right in there on turn one. Almost a little over ambitious, held off on it. But that gap shrunk going down the front straightaway. Now working through the infield portion. Car length between them is the difference. Man, some great stuff here. I cannot tell you who I think has the better car at the moment, because it really, that draft has been powerful today for the LMP2s, especially between these two in this closing stint.
Yeah, and keep in mind, it's built up a well-respected community in the first place with the LMP2s because, of course, this car, one of the oldest prototypes now on the service, it feels like it was only just around a few years ago. We've seen LMP2s hit the service as they're in the closing stages of the rear-world efforts. Now, you're talking about the top teams here have to be able to know how to craft these setups just right to have a chance here to be able to harness this older technology, even though it's only about a few years old.
Yeah, but I mean, to your point, it is one of those things where it's like the longer this car has been around, especially in the case of the LMP2, it's that much more time for teams to research and tweak and adjust and build on their notes year over year. So these are probably some of the best setups that we're going to see of any of these LMP2s, historically speaking, just because they've had so much time to really kind of marinate and build out the best version of this car they can for the drivers they have on their roster. Is getting right up to the back bumper again in turn one as Williams. We got pit stops here for GT Pro. And it was all the it was a lot of those leaders who just came down. That was both SimCity Racing in third. I want to say the 68 of Telemetry also made a stop just a second ago. So that is going to be something to keep an eye on here, as that cycle should be done in a lap or two. But we'll continue to watch this battle in LMP2 because this is for the class lead. Ryan Serlich, Michael Williams doing battle in turn 6.
We'll give a quick note for those who just topped off. 15-second stops for when they peel down the 57, yet to do so. But it's the question on, is there going to be a chance here? You're talking about maybe 10, 11, 12 laps, give or take. You have to be able to make this move. Sounds like a fair bit, but at Daytona, you're talking about very finite opportunities. Where do you make this move if your track limits, now that you know you're running out of time to do it? You see them going they're already fuel saving here in the first place too.
And this is where things get a little tricky because, you know, you want to go out there, you want to take that advantage, but if you're trying to save fuel, you can't be as aggressive as you would be normally, but you can't get too passive because you've got to stay in the realm of this draft here to Serlich to, you know, kind of stay within striking distance should something happen. It's got to probably be one of those something where you kind of bide your moment, bide your time, and when you only have a few minutes left, if you've got anything left in the tank, that's when you go out there and make it happen. That almost got real dicey. I think the 23 got a little wide and won. The 420 really dove it in there, and that was about 3 or 4 lengths erased just getting in the one. I have a feeling if we do see a pass here between these two, the 420 is going to try to take it in turn 1. It seems like he is really willing to break very late going into turn 1.
We just had the leaders pit when it comes to GT Pro, believe, because he's already back out. The gap is down to 3/10. Here we go. Spinell trying to hold on and parks it in front of Soul. Now SimCity Racing, who was off the track just moments ago, is back in the conversation too. They have been, as some say, coming in hot to close up to the top 2 as the prototypes try and sort themselves out.
Yeah, when we got restarted here, say maybe about 30 minutes ago, that SimCity Racing team was about 7 seconds back in the lead through the stop and through this run. They've cut that down to a 1.5 seconds. We are very close to having a 3-horse race for the GT Pro win here in class. Right now, though, Soli trying to track down Spinell as one of the LMP2s going to work their way to the high side, clear them, and this battle will continue more or less unimpeded, I think, running down to the Le Mans chicane.
Yeah, right now it's the matter of when Soli is willing to go for this with 16 minutes to go. Or more so around that 10 to 9 lap to go mark in terms of how much time they have to work. By the way, that interval last time through, 2-3 tenths quicker was SimCity Racing. But the 68 wants it right now to the outside, taking it out of NASCAR 4. Side by side, here comes one of the GTPs to join in on the fun. They take it 3 wide for a split second. Will this move pop up here for Soli to clear? Not yet. In fact, he has to take a 1X from it.
Yeah, he got real wide there, needed to make sure he could cut back in, stay with Spinell going through 2 and 3. Got to settle back in here, and you've got time if you're the 68. You got 15 minutes to figure out to make this move. The bigger concern, though, is with how quickly that 71 has been tracking up to the both of them. You know, it's a lot easier to go on the attack if you don't have to worry about anyone behind you, and the 68 is running out of time here for it to be a two-car show at the front, because now the 71 is there. SimCity Racing has made this a 3-car battle for the lead, all within a second, with 14:43 left in this one.
And now, it's about picking the spots here. Look at this. SimCity Racing closed up another few tenths this lap. Let's take a look, though, on some of the viewpoints of a previous trouble spot with the prototypes. In fact, this is battle for LB2 leaders, I should rather say. You see on board for Michael Williams.
Yeah, it's a little side-by-side situation. LMP2 battle for the class lead up top. The bottom, it is the GT Pro battle. And Williams runs such a more narrow line through 1 than Surlick has. It lets him drive it in a lot deeper, but it's costing him a little bit of time on the exit. Very interesting to see those battling styles here lap after lap. At some point, will something break, or will Surlick continue to hold on now that they're working their way through traffic? Could open up the gap a little bit here.
With the fuel save, there's the dig to get around the traffic. Williams able to clear on by. By the way, here's the choo-choo train, and is now 3 cars indeed, because on the bumper, Peter Speckman trying to find a way to get himself back to the point. SimCity Racing has raced in a fair amount of leagues, to say the very least. They've been fast at all of them. And today, it's been about trying to craft their way to the point with how things have gone in the later stages. Now it's the question, when do they go for the move? SimCity Racing, we know, wants to build a city, and it wants to be in victory lane.
Here is that battle as they're going to work their way here back onto the banking.
Oh, here there's
sounds
troubles.
like, yeah, the 420 track limit sim racing. One of those cars that was in the hunt for LMP2. Oh,
that's second.
Up.
Pack Sim Sport.
Oh, second in LMP2, second in GTP, taking each other out at the bus stop. Oh, man, that is not what you want to see. If you're either of those guys, completely opens up the advantage here now for Douglas Souza and GTP. Completely opens up the gap for Ryan Surlick and LMP2. Take one more look at it here. I mean, that is just, it feels like a bit of a late dive there, if you ask me, from the 55, although I am not as versed in my sports car racing as I am in some other forms. So if I am out of place, let me know. But that did seem like a very ambitious attempt.
You definitely can say it was ambitious. That's a single line part of the racetrack. But look at this. It's double wide for the inside. The 68 trying to get the run. Can they get ahead? Telemetry trying to get the edge. All well to the inside. Double stint racing. Their first full-time season in this league. Looking to hold on. Here comes SimCity to join the fun.
3 cars that could reach out, shake each other's hands right now. That's how close they are, working through 5 into 6. Taking a peek back to the inside now is Telemetry. Trying to find a way by the 57, easier said than done, with 11 minutes to go. I mean, this is full on. Gloves are off. They are throwing everything they can at each other right now. Trying to find a little bit of room. Can't ask for anything more than this.
So he trying to get the dig once again. This is your closest battle for a lead right now, although M has closed up a second in the past couple laps with Constantine to McGarvey. Looks like one of the prototypes having some issues, trying to let several cars go. Here comes the pole. SimCity Racing sends a deeper near contact for SimCity Racing with that prototype.
And this is that battle in GTM. This is Constantine getting around McGarvey.
Yes, able to take the edge from the inside. 74 had slowed down a fair bit. They are now 9/10 off and growing from their situation. So the Lamborghini pulling away as a result there, but 10 minutes on the clock. Nerves are high, to say the least, Alex, once again, for this fight. Spinell trying to hold on and give their team a huge victory. Their goal for double stint was race strategy, driver consistency, minimizing mistakes for long runs. And guess what? They minimized that here in the closing stages of the purple BMW.
Yeah, they've done a phenomenal job of that, but it's one of those situations where you got to keep an eye on the fact that, there's still time to make one of those mistakes, as it sounds like we're hearing that LMP2 that was, we saw a little slower on the backstretch earlier. That was the Monarch Racing team. We're hearing potentially out of fuel, trying to roll it back to pit lane here.
Let's take a look at one of the VSR entries. Nearly crashed their own prototype into the barrier.
Oh man, significant rear end damage, broken right rear. That could be a day ender with only a few minutes to go. Some of the most heartbreaking kind of incidents is when you have something like that so close to the end. You've put in all this time to make it to the finish, and you come up just a couple minutes short. As we jump on board the Spickman here and the SimCity Racing team, you can see that's the gap to the class lead. That's all it is between these three right now. Spinell, Soli, Speckman, all in the same bit, trying to find something here. Where is it going to be is the question, if anywhere. That 57's been tough to pass today, but the 68 and the 71 are carrying a lot of speed.
SimCity Racing has had a lot of strong competitors for them. They've had Brennan Tabone, for example, Jason Allen, a part of the organization. Plenty of competitors have made appearances for them. Peter, one of the drivers that we've seen that's working with plenty of these competitors for many years. Now he goes to the bumper. Nearly went for the bump and a run as one of the LMP2s tries to cut on through. A little bit tight with corners here for SimCity. Can they figure it out as they roll over 230 kilometers an hour?
A lot going on here, and with that incident that we saw earlier between the GTP second place and LMP2 second place, you would have thought maybe that battle was over. Keep an eye on the timing table, though. That LMP2 gap less than a second. Corey Sircone maybe making a run of things here in the closing couple minutes. It is not. There's three classes that are still unbelievably up for grabs here. Oh, big spin down the front straight.
That's the 75. Hard contact for SRN and TFR lines was P3. And that was a sketchy time to spin. Look at this, Sid! A brave Sid punches them wide. Double stint sent wide. Now a squeeze back as double stint tries to get the pole. Do they have a slowdown? Yes, they do. And nobody willing to take advantage here with that side-by-side. It looks like they all elect to stay in a line. SimCity Racing trying to sort it. This is what happened for the crash on the front stretch.
Yeah, a couple of the GTMs get tangled up here. This could have been really bad coming back up the racetrack. Heavy damage, but doesn't collect anyone else. Is up front. Here comes telemetry back to the outside and one. Wide entrance there from the 57.
Oh, that 75 is still parked inside turn one. Will that end the race? Is the question. Would they throw the caution? Side by side for SimCity as well. Still though for second. Trying to make it work on the pole. They have some draft from double stint for the straightaway. They make their way on through. SimCity Racing not backing down. Keeps it high side. Forced off the brakes for the West Horseshoe.
Going to have to settle back in line just temporarily. Is telemetry going to hold on to that spot for now? That battle for second, though, opened up just a sliver of breathing room for double stint up front as they make their way back onto the banking. I mean, they are going after it right now. It was a brave attempt from Soli in that last time going through the bust up. If he's close enough, could try it again, although I think this lap might just be needing to try to reel the 57 back in. Depends on how much extra speed they get from the draft here.
Race control's letting this play out. They've elected to allow the Richard Bell machine to go for the tow truck, so no factor in that case. Black flag for third in the AMs currently, by the way. It's real late at the moment. But with 5 minutes to go, only a couple laps to do it. The other classes mostly spread apart. This is your battle for the win in GT Pro, your closest battle on circuit. And they are reaching some fellow competitors that may cause a huge factor here.
They'll work their way across the start-finish line under 5 minutes to go. And what has been a grueling 24 hours for these teams, putting together lap after lap over lap. We've run, I believe over 700 of them if you're in the GTPs. These guys at least have run over 650. And even after all of that, all the time, all the laps, all the corners, all the opportunities, you find yourselves here all within half a second going for the race win, for the class win. Spinell, Sully, Spickman, all in the same spot. It's a 71. Maybe we're going to look to the inside here in 6.
Beckman trying to take the poke in the West Horseshoe once again. Now as they go to the out portion of the in and out, will they get brave at the bus stop one more time? We've already seen some respect for them where nobody took the lead with the slowdown for the 57 initially. Now, the setup is on. 3 different cars ready to line it up to try and battle for this race win. SimCity Racing might have a good chance with the double toe, though. A BMW, a McLaren, and a Porsche with the chance to win it. Here comes the time for second.
That was ambitious, but he made it work. Shot it in there, takes second place away. SimCity Racing now up to P2 in the class. Telemetry going to drop back to third. That opens up the gap a little bit for Double Stint. Now about 8 tenths. They'll all reconvene, though, I'm sure, with the draft going down the front straightaway. Wow, that was daring from the 71, but nicely done. Look at this.
Looks like they expected it, though. You see the little grace, and they say, if you want it that bad, go on ahead. It's a step on the podium, the first round of the season for VSCA competition for the Sports Car Championship. But with under 30 minutes to go, if SimCity Racing wants to get it, they better dig now. Of note, Blanco Motor, who is in the top 5, just had to come down for a pit stop, so they will lose a top 5 run as well.
Yeah, tough break to have to pit with only a couple minutes to go. But we're continuing to watch this battle. As you see, working through here right now, I believe that is the class leader in GTP. Douglas Souza, the overall leader, working through the GT Pro traffic right now, trying to find his way around. Easier said than done through the infield portion, but he's got a healthy 12-second advantage over JD Daniel in the Pack Sim Sport Car right now in that class. Looking really good here in the last couple minutes here. Douglas Souza, that whole BMW Delta team.
Fury P5 LMP2 speeding. That was the 30 Fury SimSport entry that had been in contention there for podium for much of the way. Of note, one of the R Delta entries, Felipe Silveira, still in damage repair also for the GTPs. But we're coming up to the final stretch. Coming up to what may be the final lap coming up. Douglas Souza behind the wheel for the 12 machine for Delta Racing in the BMW M Team machine. Should be white flag, a minute 30 on the clock. 5-second offset as this should just about come to a close next time by for the Maconi Setup Shop 24 Hours of Daytona.
Man, we've gotten treated to an absolute classic. As up front in GT Pro, we just had ourselves a scrap in the turn 1. SimCity Racing just took it away from Double Stint in the 1. And now here comes the 57 back to the inside. Oh, they're bouncing off each other.
Pushed wide is SimCity Racing with the contact. Up out of the groove is Buckman. He tries to line back up. That'll also right back on him through for second. The elbows coming out. Will Soleil put the elbows out to try and go for the win seat? How aggressive they're getting in the horseshoes.
And we'll have to take a look at that again at some point, but it's too good to turn away from right now. The 57 had lost the lead temporarily to the 71, went right back after him, and the two of them made contact, solely able to capitalize back up to second. And with 26 seconds to go, it is still anybody's race here at GT Pro. What a battle we've been treated to.
Yeah, you see that on the set of the last lap. As you see in the bottom corner, your overall race leader, Douglas Souza. His team had to scratch, to claw, to battle to get to this spot. For Douglas Souza, it was a stellar drive to close. Coming to the checker flag, BMW M Team Delta Racing will take the win of the Maconi Setup Shop 24 Hours of Daytona and get it done in GTP.
Fantastic drive for the BMW Delta team. They get it done. Meanwhile, here GT Pro, it looks like Double Stint gonna be able to get the job done here in the 57, I'm sure. VSCA gonna take a long look at the last few laps here in GT Pro, but the 57 and Double Stint gets the job done here unofficially for GT Pro. Fantastic battling between those three drivers. Couldn't ask for a better duel.
Meanwhile, we've seen the spins earlier for Ryan Serlich. His gap 19 seconds. But for Twin Turn SRV, they started dominant, they end dominant. Serlich drives it home for a win for the 23. All while SRN Motorsports Orange, they look to try and finish out their run. Constantine losing tons of time to close. They're rapidly falling down the order. Something has happened to the 9. But for McGarvey, what's happened to them is a win in GTM. Oh, they're out of fuel.
The Daily Kart Market Aries Racing machine out of fuel coming out of the bus stop. Oh, heartbreak for the 9.
The worst they can finish is third spot, but they are stuck on the banking. Aries Racing, a sick feeling with a chance to win this race, running out of fuel on the final lap of this one. Just a touch bit too less fuel in the tank. What a finish.
There is your overall winner, your GTP winner, Douglas Souza, the BMW M Team Delta Racing Group. Big rally back and was able to capitalize on the chaos around him. What a drive. What a day. What a 24 hours it's been, Justin.
We started things off yesterday morning at about 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Now as we come to a roll and a close, we look to celebrate with a bang as all the race winners start to make their way down the victory lane. All cars across the start and finish line. But the celebration about to kick off for a lot of these teams here at the victory lane here at Daytona. Let's take a look at the results here today for the Maconi Setup Shop 24 Hours of Daytona. Douglas Souza brings it home by 10 seconds over J.D. Daniel. Pack Sim Sport with their contact did gain about 5 seconds back in the closing stages. It was Pedersen for Wastegate recovers a third from their spin with Mark Schurischel in the 4th position for Allbeck Motorsports. Mello in the top 5 for Lion GP and Bravo Snow. Then V1M10 in the 6th spot. What a sim racing team in GTP in 7th with VSR Competition, Bianco in the 8th position. BMW M Team TSR GTP and No Limit Sim Racing Academy, your top 10 in this class. Also in the class, BMW M Team Delta Racing 21 did finish 15 laps down. Red Lab was 52 down, and Aries Racing was more than 670 laps down at the end. You have the next group here, Alex.
You bet. So looking at the LMP2 results, it will be Twin Turn SRV by Rebecca Bornheim. That 23 machine race finished off by Ryan Serlich, gets the job done. Michael Williams for Track Limit Sim Racing Thunderbolt brings it home P2. Just ahead of Rescue Skill by WMS, Marcus Young in that 512. That is your top 3 in LMP2. V1M will finish 4th ahead of Fury Sim Sport LMP2 in that 5th spot. Twin Turn SRS by Rebecca Bornheim will bring it home 6th, just ahead of RTR In the 7th spot, Grow Racing Team will finish 8th after a strong run the majority of the day. Flight Level Racing 757 will finish in the 9th spot, just ahead of the Monarch Racing Team in 10th.
That brings us to GT Pro, where Double Stint Racing, they end up taking the lead and taking the win after a fierce battle, one of the fiercest battles of the day, solely for Telemetry Racing, also known as Telemetry. However you want to break it down, it's Telemetry, spelled in pronunciation form. SimCity Racing was in 3rd, by the way, with Peter Speckman behind the wheel. Then iRacing Today Motorsports VSCA in 4th with Chad Dalton. Jay Van Meppelen for Electronic Fisher Motorsport. Daniel Gruber in 6th for Mateo Fisher Motorsport. Then Blanco Motor Avenue come down late. Tower Redden finishes in 7th. Rusty Spatulas with the contact still finishes 8th. Teixeira for Epic Vans Pulsar Esports team in 9th. And Sean Hatfield for Vulture Motorsports Pro 10th. RTR Rick Team Racing 1, Rodrigo Moreros finishes 11th with Grow Racing Team White in the 12th spot. Go Into Racing's 18 car finishes in 13th. World of Sim Racing Team, VSR Competition, Nero, and Virtual Power Sim Racing, the rest of your entries.
And taking a look here at GTM, it'll be Scott McGarvey with SRN Motorsports Orange taking home the win in that class. Smelly with Blanco Motor AM is going to be in the 2nd spot, the only other car on the lead lap in that group. And it's Constantine running out of fuel on the last lap for Daily Kart Market Aries Racing. That will be your top 3 in GTM, followed by Wastegate Racing entry number 33, BMW M Team TSR GT finishing in that 5th spot ahead of the Superstar Racing Team number 17 entry. Off in the S's will finish 7th here. Patrick Butler behind the wheel there. Going Racing finishing in the 8th spot. And that number 19 machine, TRN TFR Alliance, will finish 9th. Richard Bell 4 laps down alongside Marcus Taylor with SWF Motorsports. And then looking at the back half of the GTM field, Carl Katana's finishing 11th in the Superstar Racing Team entry number 4. Wolf Motorsports will finish in 12th. Intercom Fisher Motorsport finishing in 13th, just ahead of Flight Level Racing 747, with Team Frida Sport and Vulture Motorsports rounding out the 16-car field in GTM.
Let's look top to bottom at all your run orders here on Green Flag TV after a busy weekend of racing for VSCA competition. Waiting for some of the drivers to still populate, but we do have one of the teams that have had representatives sent forward here. Twin Turn SRV has sent one of their competitors. Joining us in the broadcast booth, Renee. Yes, hello there, Renee.
Hello, guys.
How would you describe things for your feelings here for your team as Ryan Serlick brings home the 23 for the victory today?
I was just speechless. Yeah, just unbelievable. With all these full coat yellows, all this tension, all this pressure. Yeah, it's difficult to find the right words now.
How would you describe the emotions as things started to boil up between you and Track Limits at the closing stages before Track Limits' incident? We know they were trying to save some fuel before their incident with 2nd place at GTP.
Yeah, we had also to save fuel, and yeah, we're just hoping that we don't have to save too much to stay in the lead, but yeah, in the end Ryan did a mega job and managed it the whole last stint, and yeah, I'm just giga proud of him.
So with that being said here, big momentum for the start of the VSCA season as well. How do you feel about that approach now? You start the overall season with a bang, with the biggest race, one of the biggest races in the calendar already in the books.
I mean, it's just unbelievable. We won last year the VSCA championship, but we're not able to win Daytona and to win Daytona and start the year with the biggest win race of the year is just unbelievable. It's such a great feeling, and I'm super excited for the rest of the year.
Any shout you'd like to give here today?
Sorry, say again.
Do you have anyone you want to give a shout out to?
To the whole Twin team, everyone. 23 and the 22 car. Oh yeah, we all guys together, the practicing together made this happen today. So a big shout out to the whole team, and yeah, also a big thank you to our sponsors, and especially to you guys to broadcasting this whole event. It's an honor for us all that we have a broadcast like this. It was super cool to watch, and I'm just happy.
Congratulations on the class victory for you guys here this weekend.
Thank you.
Rene Dalcino's joining us in the booth as the 23 machine takes over the LMP2 side. We have plenty of drivers standing on by here. Next in our groupings here, why don't we go over to GT Pro? Alex Gingon has a 2-for-1 special, as it will be Sam Spinell joining alongside Chris Treiber, their drivers for Double Stint.
Hey there, folks. You got a copy?
Yep, I can hear you.
Awesome. Well, I tell you what, we were glued to that GT Pro battle, or yeah, the GT Pro battle, the last, say, 30 minutes or so. I mean, 3 cars all going for the class win. I mean, positions trading left and right. Got to ask you, how are y'all feeling coming off the win, and how was the feeling after some crazy battling in the last half an hour?
Yeah, honestly, amazing battle. Top 3 were just incredible. Obviously, there's an incident at the end. We'll let the stewards decide that, but there were aggressive moves from all of us. But apart from that, it was 30 minutes sprint. Probably one of the best races I've ever had, to be honest. And no matter where, I would have finished in that.
And for the, for y'all, this has been one of those. I mean, this was a battle. You guys were up front a good bit of the day, but really had to earn it there at the end in that battle. What was the energy like today? How are you feeling? Going after a 24-hour run like that, and knowing that in the last half an hour, it's coming down to like truly some on-track battling, even as long as this race had been going on.
I'll let Chris talk about this.
Oh yeah, I mean the whole time we were pretty much, I would say, dialed in. I would say the one thing that was new for us was so many cautions and live full course cautions that I think the telemetry guys said they threw out their spreadsheet pretty early, and so did we, and even like sleep schedules got messed up, so we were pretty much winging it the whole time. But ultimately we had figured out pretty early on that Sam had the pace. Curtis, my brother, another co-driver, had the pace. I did not, so let those guys duke it out, or finish towards the end. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't even talk for the first or the next lap after the race to make sure we actually did win. That was absolutely amazing. An awesome drive from the telemetry team and the SimCity guys, all up front all day. Super aggressive driving, and yeah, that was just a ton of fun.
And I guess I got to ask while we're here. I mean, this is the big season opener for VSCA. I mean, long event, one of the marquee events on the calendar. How do you guys feel going into the rest of the season, knowing that you've kicked it off on such a high note?
Well, I would say coming in, we just added Sam to the team through a mutual friend, and so this is our first time driving together as a trio. So we really didn't know like what to expect. We got a couple days of practice each. Last year, Curtis and I were GTM, so this is our first race as GT Pro. And we did well in GTM, but we didn't think that we would have the pace to compete at GT Pro level, just because in the previous races we did not. And that was not the case today. So Sam asked me about an hour left. He said, is top 5 good, or like what is your expectation? And I paused because he's in the car, and do I tell him to go for the win, or do I tell him that a top 5 is good? And I told him that he should win, and he said good, because I was going to do that anyway.
Well, hey, you know, that sort of confidence carried over well, and maybe was part of the difference maker there, because I mean, they needed everything and then some in that last battle. I mean, it was just a blast to watch you guys going out there and battling in those last, I mean, really all night, but especially, I can't emphasize that, especially in those last 30 minutes, we were glued to that battle the whole way through. But Chris, Sam, congratulations on the unofficial class win here for GT Pro. I mean, just some absolutely stellar stuff. Anyone y'all would like to shout out here on today's result?
Yeah, just thank you for, Curtis and Sam, our drivers. We had our friend Josh helping spot inside as well, so he's hanging out with us. And then, our families, we each spent a whole weekend, and I think Curtis, his newborn is sick, his wife is sick, he was sick, and so he was kind of like in and out. And so, everybody that was not driving that supported us through this was absolutely awesome. And then we do have sponsors. Supersend.io is a company that we own, and then Lux Tribe, luxury timepieces. Any sort of money that goes into sim racing comes from that. So just really appreciative there. Yeah, and we're looking forward to the season more now than ever, for sure.
I mean, yeah, definitely a good reason for optimism coming out of today in the GT Pro class win. Chris, Sam, congratulations, and don't let me hold you up from celebrating the big accomplishment here today.
Yeah, thank you guys for the commentating. We had it on the whole time, and it was very entertaining. So very nice job. Thank you so much.
We appreciate it up here in the Green Flag TV booth. Appreciate y'all putting on the action on track, and congratulations again.
Yeah, thank you.
That is your GT Pro class winners, double stint racing. That was the 57 machine, and now we'll throw it back over to Justin Prince, who will be catching up with another one of our class winners.
Yes, indeed. We have your overall race winners standing on by. Some of the drivers for them joining. Andre Vitor Diaz also joined in by one of the team managers, and Vitor Delgado joining us in the broadcast booth. Delta Racing takes the top step of the podium, starting from 12th today in the 12. First things first, what's the thought process for the driver's side to get the win here today, Andre?
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing 24 hours of racing. Like I said last time I was here by the night, it was pretty open. We had a lot of cautions. I had another sim crash once again, so iRacing hasn't been kind to me for this race, but the boys did an amazing job, especially Douglas towards the end. So having the race being basically reset with like 60 minutes to go was like thrilling. We were all on the edge of the seat. There's like at least 5 or 6 people trying to nurse the car and the strategy for Douglas, and we were really glad and proud that he managed to pull it off. And it's been a team effort. I mean, that's all we can say.
And for you as a team manager here today, what's kind of the feelings of seeing what you've had developed for Delta Racing to be able to take the advantage that you did with the strategy and the speed to come out on top and start off this season with a bang?
Hey guys, thank you everyone for the broadcast of the organization. It's amazing show today. It's amazing event. That a race like Daytona 24 is always special when you can finish because everyone's know the difficult to complete a race like that, because like you said, have a lot of strategy, manage of traffic is very important, and for me is easy because the drivers are very committed, have a lot of commitment in the practice, in the race. And this win is very significant because we pursued this win since 2022 when we get in this series, and we have a lot of ups and downs in our history, and I'm very very happy with this win, and I have how to explain, because winning a 24-hour race in Daytona is very good.
Extremely good, absolutely. Here, turning back to you, Andre, here in this. Overall, what was the toughest thing in terms of the way this race played out? I know there was a lot of attrition here today. What was the toughest thing in terms of the approach for you and your fellow teammates to be able to get the job done in the first place, especially knowing the new tire model was coming into play? And we've seen some people actually have to double stint a little bit by 6 laps on the tire difference. A little difference.
Yeah, I think the toughest thing that we had to face wasn't on the preparation, because at least on our point of view, the tires didn't change that much. It was just a little bit easier on the cold phase, but the main concern, or the most thrilling part of the race, was the innumerous comebacks that we have to perform. On my side was actually, they were all on my side because of the sim crashes. So we were in 3 occasions a lap down, and we managed to crawl back that lap. And there was a drive-through, 2 hours to go. We were 30-40 seconds off the lead, and then there was the last yellow. And to reset all the mindset and to have that last push towards the end on Douglas and all of engineers that we had with us, it was a really more mental strength than technical one, I guess.
And turning back over to you, now the big thing is keeping the momentum the rest of the season. Next time out, going to be a lot more different of a racetrack when you go to Long Beach. Your approach from when we go to the SportsCar Grand Prix of Long Beach.
Yeah, we have a plan. We have things to do now after Daytona. We need look to this race and see what works and what not works. I think we need improve a lot yet, but we are looking to Long Beach. Is the next race, but we need still looking to Daytona to be prepared for Long Beach, and Sebring is the next challenge.
So on the note, I'll stick with you for this question. Anyone you want to give a shout out to here today, Yao?
Sorry?
Anyone you want to specifically mention? Any sponsors? Anything along those lines?
Yeah, I have to say thank you to our sponsor, Pion Docs and GT Concept. Without their support, this is not possible to happen. Because they invest in us, And I would like to say thank you also to organization, everyone that cheer for us, support us in our official stream, and for everyone that sent in special sorry for my son and my wife, because yesterday I said, "Daddy, you win for you." He have only 1 year and 5 months, and I hate this for him.
Congratulations on the race win here today for Delta Racing, for the two of you. Congratulations.
Thanks guys. Thanks.
Vitor Delgado and Andre Vitor Diaz joining us in the broadcast booth. We have one more driver standing on by. They've been waiting patiently from SRN after drivers ran on the gas on the final lap. It's SRN who takes the win. Lawrence Dobrot will join Alex Gagnon.
Hey there, Lawrence. You got a copy?
I do. Thank you very much for having us in.
And thank you very much for putting on a show in GTM, man. It was a ton of fun to watch y'all go to work and ultimately got the job done by a pretty decent margin. Granted, one of those cars ran out of fuel, but still a heck of a performance nonetheless. Got to ask you, how are you feeling on the class win after 24 hours of grinding here through Daytona?
Oh, we are extremely excited for this win. I mean, it was a lot of work. We're exhausted, but the adrenaline is still pumping, so it's going to be tough to put all that together. But I'd like to thank the whole team, Tim, Marty, Scott, and our new rookie, Jason, especially Marty and Jason. They pulled off the nighttime driving when the rest of us were struggling. We went to bed. They kept us alive throughout the night, brought it in, and then our finisher, Scott, put the last stint and a half down and just was able to bring it home.
Yeah, I mean, you guys put together a pretty complete race, but I do have to ask you, what was it like going through this 24-hour event? Obviously, there was a pretty healthy bit of full course yellows scattered throughout the night that may have cost out a lot of strategy ideas pretty early on, but I would love to know what that conversation looked like for you guys trying to work your way through this race. How many times did you have to pick up the pencil and go, all right, well, this strategy isn't going to be viable anymore, cross that out, on to the next?
We had to do it several times, going through and readjusting who was going to drive when, how long were you going to stay in the car, and whether you needed a bathroom break. That was really important for the team, was how to keep the thing going with all the biological aspects of auto racing. But it was great. I actually think the cautions we used to our advantage, we were able to use them to stay on the lead lap throughout the night. And by the morning, we were running very close to the lead. We were like in probably 8th place. And it was just a matter of just maintaining good consistency and not breaking the car.
That was honestly a big part of it, because with so many corners, so many laps, the opportunity is always looming. We saw there was a lot of cars who did have issues, even if it was just once or twice, and that sometimes could be all it takes. What was it like for you guys? Like, you mentioned trying to keep the car in one piece, trying to keep it rolling, lap after lap after lap. What did that look like for you guys as far as the effort that went in to make sure you are running not only fast, but like sustainable lap over lap?
Well, really, it boiled down to practice. We would do a lot of team practices where we would just all be driving the same car with the race set up and just following each other through this. And driving the same car makes passing very difficult, but it gave us the opportunity to really hone our skills in the different conditions through the 24 hours. At night, the track is good and grippy. The last stint here, the track was starting to warm up. It was getting a little slippery. So we took a big challenge and didn't take tires on the last partial stint and just put in enough gas to cross the finish line.
All right, and honestly, Lawrence, that is all it. It boils down so simply when you put it that way, and then you see it in execution, and you're running 650 odd some laps trying to make this work. But y'all did it. It was a fantastic drive for everyone with SRN Motorsports Orange. Anyone you'd like to shout out on behalf of the team here today?
Well, Scott, our closer, bringing it home. He definitely did a good job keeping it together. And then our rookie, Jason. This was his first 24-hour race ever. And he had a little struggle on his first stint. We kept cheering him on. All you got to do is just keep it going. He pulled it through the night and left us in a great position for our closer to bring it home.
Well, he did a fantastic job. You all did a fantastic job. Congrats on the GTM win. And best of luck here the rest of the VSCA season, because this is quite the high note to kick it off on.
Oh, it is. It is. And thank you guys for the broadcast. We really appreciate it. And have a good time out there in Raceland.
Appreciate it. You as well, Lawrence. And that is SRN Motorsports Orange, your GTM winner. Driver that number 74, one of 5 that they had in the car, or at least one of 4. But with that, we'll throw it back over to Justin Prince here, as we have had an opportunity now to talk to each of our class winners here today.
Yes, indeed. And it was an eventful 24 hours here at Daytona. Cautions breed cautions early on and for parts of the day. But it ends up being an hour-plus shootout to decide the race winner here, Alex. Your final thoughts from your perspective on this event from what you've seen over the course of the weekend?
Well, I think the big thing is you mentioned it, right out the gate, we had a couple of full course yellows, which I think could have really got a lot of people out of sorts, but it seemed like so many of these teams really buckled down after those opening couple of full course yellows, really started finding a rhythm. And of course, there's going to be yellows throughout the event, but they did a really good job managing that, maintaining their strategies and updating it as needed. I mean, we saw so much battling throughout the field in all four classes. Even in the final 30 minutes, none of those classes were even remotely decided yet, and we had a couple of those like GT Pro that came right down to the final lap. You can't ask for much more than that as a season opener. You can't ask for much more than that of a 24-hour race. I mean, this truly was an action-packed race from flag to flag. No matter when they were going, there was always something to be keeping an eye on.
And of course, we have more racing coming up when it comes to the season. The next time out these drivers in this series go racing is the Sports Car Grand Prix of Long Beach. That will start the Sprint Cup schedule. That is on February the 7th. Be sure to tune in. Start time is approximately 4 p.m. GMT for that one. You can catch that here with Green Flag TV. But on that note, it's just about time to say goodbye. Let's give a shout out to those who were a part of today's crew. Everyone with the work they put in, able to put together 24 hours of hard racing intensity. Be sure to also mention that at 3 p.m., Green Flag TV has Pace GR86s. Be sure to tune in for that 3 p.m. Eastern Time to see how those Toyota GR86s race. But for everyone a part of the crew with VSCA competition from Daytona, for our producer, Dustin Ollis, for our final hours of coverage, for Alex Gagnon, for everyone a part of Green Flag TV, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. You've been watching this year's coverage of the Maconi Setup Shop 24 Hours of Daytona from Florida.